Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Happy to have you here on Night Owls. Hopefully, everybody had themselves a really good weekend. I know that mine was spent cleaning my computer and such, but that's all right. We need to have those weekends too. I know that today it's very gloomy. It's going to rain like hell. I have a cold cup of coffee, but I am with a friends. Hello, Thundero. It is good. That is what you want, and let's make sure that you're working here. So go ahead and speak. Hmm. I'm hearing you, but I don't know that they're hearing you. So let me go over here and refix this. I think I have to before I get up on the side here. Let's see here. Is that a problem? It shouldn't be a problem. Devices defaults. So maybe it's doing that. Let me come over to here. Go ahead and speak now.
Hello, hello,
There it
hello.
is.
Testing.
I fixed
You
it.
found me.
I
I'm
did.
found.
You
I've
have
been
been
founded.
found. Yes. Yeah, because I did cleaning up of the computers. So, and one of the things I did was I bought a cheap USB speaker
Hmm.
because I don't know about you, but as I go over here and hit that like and share button, it's I can sit here all day with the headphones on my head doing this conversation and talking with people. It doesn't bug me at all. I mean, afterward, you get
Yeah.
kind of that my tinnitus kind of will act up a little bit, but no big deal. But I can't play video games with headphones on, dude. It bugs the hell out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. I'm not a big fan of it either. I don't know why. Uh,
Yeah,
it's a very strange thing because it shouldn't,
it
right? Like, why
shouldn't.
does it matter? For
Yeah,
some reason.
it just does.
For some
So
reason.
I got a speaker that I can turn on and off now, and of course that's going to affect some of my sound stuff. But let me make sure everything is being heard on the outside and see what the chat says. But yeah, that was my weekend. I cleaned up a lot of stuff, and I made some decisions when it comes to what games I'm going to play. It's always a conversation. Seeing as we have all the, we had Summer's Games Fest, which was not impressive. Um, the all the indie stuff. If you just go over someone like IGN or wherever, a place that covers it all, they have
Yeah.
way better indie stuff. They didn't cover any of that, of course, because he's getting paid though. I understand that. I'm not going to get mad at him. He hears. Oh, Roger can hear. Good. But then today, I haven't seen. I didn't watch it all. Watch it halfway through, and then I kind of skipped through. Uh, Bethesda, Xbox Bethesda. Uh, wow, dude.
Hmm.
Um, everything. Although I'm sure in the game you can play as a white male in some of these games. Um,
Hmm.
it was all female all the time and lots of black ladies. I didn't know there was so many black peoples in the universe. I was unaware.
Apparently.
It's I've
They
learned something.
colonized everything.
Which I'm sure you could play your own character, so it doesn't really matter, I suppose. It's just what they want to show how woke they are, so they highlight it. But they've been telling me, and we'll see in a couple articles here today that reiterate it, that if you don't see yourself on screen, you can't be part of it,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
And that's what they're
That's right.
telling
Yeah,
us.
representation matters.
It
Right. That's
does,
right.
right? So therefore,
Yeah.
they're telling me not to buy their game. I got it. I
Yeah.
get it.
It's not for you, white
It's
man.
not for me,
Go
white
die
man.
now. That's what they
So,
want.
I think they're going to run into a little bit of problem with that because most of their customers are white men here in the West anyway. Over in the West, here in Asia, of course, Asians love video games, but they don't like that shit either,
Yeah,
dude.
but Asians don't seem to like the blacks very much. So
Well, the Chinese, but well, yeah, I guess, yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
I live in like the Asian part of my city. We got Asians and Arabs, and well, we got a little bit of everybody, but really the Asians, the Arabs here. Like I can go any direction I want, literally any direction down my streets, and I will hit an Asian market of some description, like a little small little Asian market, Asian restaurants of differing descriptions. And I can assure you, it is it's not just the Chinese. They just don't like black people for various reasons, and they're very open about it. They're
yeah,
not shy about it like a lot of white people will be.
yeah. That's true.
So
I don't know why they're
I
so
think
like that.
they're I think there's gonna be a. I think they're gonna have a problem if they're gonna really push. Which I don't have any problem with. If they want to push black people in video games, cool, whatever. I'll play it if it's a good game. I don't give a shit.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I think you're going to run into trouble in other markets because, for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent, a lot of non-Europeans, we'll call them, don't like black people. They
Yeah.
just don't. They don't want to see them. They don't like. They don't like hearing them speak. Nothing. It's
Yeah,
just
I'm not sure exactly what all that is. That would probably take a long bit of research to try to figure that
yeah,
out. But I mean, if I see a suspicious person of any color, I'll keep an eye on them, of course.
yeah,
To be fair, though, I do keep my eyes on the Middle Easterner, though,
yeah.
always, always. And I guess that is a bit of racism, or I
Racisms.
would call it
The racisms.
religiosism. Let's use that word. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a fair one, I think.
because
Yeah, because it's probably more of that than it is anything else.
yeah,
Because I knew a
concerned.
guy. He moved over here and he was a Muslim, but he moved over here to get away from from Islam as much as he could because his son was gay, and they don't like the gays, so he fled from whatever country it was, I don't remember, and changed his name. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
what his name he changed it to, but he changed his name to two white guy names, right?
Yes,
And if
Steve
he wouldn't
Johns.
have,
Perfect.
basically, if he wouldn't have told you that he was Arab, you would have just thought he was some kind of swarthy, white dude
Yeah, sure.
like my uncle was. But he used to have the same exact thing. He would hang out with certain other Arabs, usually like there's a little Turkish community. He'd hang out with them because a lot of them are not Muslim. They just they like to come over here and make money.
Mhm.
Um, so he'd hang out with them and stuff, and I'd run into him occasionally. But he used to come into our shop all the time. But he used to say all the same what you just said. He doesn't trust Muslims. He doesn't like being around them, and he was Arab. He doesn't trust them because of the
Yeah,
way
it's a
they treated his
religious
son,
thing.
what they threatened. Yep.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But speaking of Islam, we do have a Kushite amongst us. Hello, Grandma.
It's like-
Well, I mean, the only notable black empire
yeah,
throughout history, the Kush, the Kushites, and they went and changed their name to Ethiopia. What the
yeah,
hell, dude?
yeah.
That's a shit change.
Um,
It's like
Kush is a
Thailand
good
is. It
name.
used to be called Siam. So much better, dude.
It is better. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is better.
Hi,
It's
Grimlock.
true.
No.
I
Grimlock
agree
just
with
walked
that.
right into the racism.
From Kush to Ethiopia, yeah, it's a bit of a downgrade.
And those guys are badass,
Um,
man. They got a good history, actually. Strong history.
Yeah,
yeah.
So,
So did the
yeah.
Mali, but or at least early on they did.
yeah, when
They like
they
money.
they fell in the gaps is what they did, you know. And
Yeah.
now they just murder anything that moves. So good. Go to Mali. That's a travel destination.
Yes,
Or I should send the white liberals. I got it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I like
They
that.
go
Yeah,
help the
I like.
Malis. They need your
Yeah.
help. But yeah,
Actually, you know what? We should encourage this. Listen, guys, some of these people over there, they really need your
they
help. They
need
need
your help.
specifically your help.
Yes, that's right. But one of the things that allowed Kush to be as strong as it did for so long, and I mean, shit, they even ruled for a while in Egypt. They one of the things that let them do that is as the Nile River goes down into Ethiopia, it winds
Yep.
through these cataracts, and it's very
Mhm.
hard to move an army in there. So they were
Yep.
protected behind these, mountains, basically these kind of really rocky terrain, and they made good use of it, dude. They're really, really clever.
Yeah. The I guess you could say the topography of Africa is very interesting.
Well,
It
sure.
helped them. It helped them in war, but hurt them a lot in trade.
It did, and other things, and in modern times now they're kind of giving it back to Egypt. They're threatening to dam the Nile, and that's going to create war again. So joy. But Africa is kind of constantly at war. There's always war somewhere in Africa, but it's much bigger than you think. The problem is you grew up with
Oh,
that
yeah.
stupid Mercator map that makes you think
Yeah.
Africa is very small. Go take a look at a real size comparison. Africa is
Yeah,
bigger
it's
than
humongous.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gigantic. And
Africa's absolutely humongous. It's why so many empires have tried to conquer it, and some succeeded for a little while, but
it's
it's a
tough.
hellscape,
It
the
is
dark
tough.
continent.
It is tough.
Yeah,
You're basically going into a very hostile environment, and you're not a native. The
that's
natives
right.
have adapted over a very long time to survive it, and we haven't. So yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
point. But anyway, Grimlock, nice to talk to you. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. What did you do?
I slept.
Okay. Well,
That's the best kind of weekend.
You know,
We
it
get
is.
to
it,
honk out.
it's an amazing thing about sleep. You hear a lot less bullshit when you're sleeping.
That's
Dude,
true.
that is true. And may I
Yeah,
tell you today in my news search, there was a lot of the bullshit. A
yeah,
No.
lot. Because what's happening is they're starting to get some actual push, I mean, real serious pushback against the message. And they are
good. Of
doubling down hard, dude.
course,
Hard.
that's all they
And
know how to do.
speaking and speaking of the message, I am here to clarify my stance is why I hate that fish lip bitch Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Oh, good. Well, to be fair,
Fish lipped
Grimlock,
bitch. He has the best insults. I
he
love him.
does, he does.
Fish lipped bitch.
The thing I get myself in trouble, you see, Thundero, because I
Hmm.
don't like her either, dude. She is a nasty piece of work. She's just hateful, right?
Yeah,
I 100% don't like her either. But I'm also not going to take away her skill just because I don't like her. I just can't do that.
I don't think she's skilled.
Okay.
I look at her. I'll make a comparison to somebody else currently in the industry that I don't think highly of either, because there is a difference between this person and her.
Okay.
I compare. I'm gonna compare her to Dan Slott.
Oh,
Mm.
All
ow.
right, and here's why. As quietly as it's been kept, Dan Slott has been at Marvel for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And that's I know a lot of people may not realize that because most people did not come into Dan Slott into his Spider-Man run, but I actually have some old Ren and Stimpy comics that he wrote back in the 90s. So he's been there. He is he is one of the longest tenured members, if he's not the longest tenured one.
Hmm.
Tenured one, my mistake. Kelly Sue DeConnick is a Johnny Come Lately.
Yeah, that's true.
Neither one of them have good rapport with fans.
No.
They're both known for antagonizing them. I mean, Dan Slott literally nicknamed himself Slotto Octavius,
Yeah, no. I mean, and who needs
and
fans
then
anyway?
his infamous um, "the fans are nothing but pixels on a screen" speech, which I think is
Oof.
ridiculously
That was
stupid.
rough. That was rough.
Because if I came up to him and slapped the hell out of him, I mean, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be a pixel.
That's a badass pixel, is what that is.
But there's a difference between one. There's one major difference between him and her.
Hmm.
Dan Slott actually wanted to be in comics. She wanted to be in Hollywood.
Yeah,
She just doesn't have the talent.
that's true.
The only reason she is in comics is because of who she married. If she was not married to Matt Fraction, I don't think she'd have been allowed to infiltrate. And I look that's how I look at her. She is part of a group of people I look at as infiltrators. People who just wanted to use this as resume filler
Yeah,
to when they because they thought they was eventually going to get that Netflix deal or that movie deal, and it's not going to happen, but they haven't seen it yet. You know, it's kind of like that brother in the hood who's been pitching his mixtape since he was 17. Bruh,
right.
you're not making the business.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody ought to tell you that. But she's that same way. She infiltrated, immediately came in, and was catered to, was given bullshit that she did. She was given jobs she didn't deserve. And you can tell she doesn't deserve them because every book she's ever written, and I'm not even including, her own IPs like Bitch Planet. Every book she's ever went on, the sales have dropped like a fucking rock.
Fair. I think it has more to do with her
I
attitude than
mean,
her writing, but I get your point. But really, the question that comes to mind though, Grimlock, is what's up with Matt Fraction?
That's a good question because what the fuck has he done in the last 5 years?
Well, more importantly, what did he do to deserve that?
That true too.
Yeah, he has been cursed.
Yeah.
But okay, I get you. I get you. Yeah, yeah, I understand. But anyway, we're not talking about comic books today, Grimlock. We're talking about
I know.
bigger issues.
Uh-oh.
We're talking about video games.
Oh.
Bigger issues. Well, more profitable issues. That's
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
good because I saw some interesting things earlier today, so we can talk about that.
and we will because my God, dude. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I see in the new Overwatch 2, did they actually make Soldier 76 female? I think I did. And you know, it's bad enough that all of a sudden these MOBA characters are he's gay for some reason. It's a MOBA game. I have no idea. Is that they call those are technically MOBAs, right?
Yeah.
I
Overwatch.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
know, it's like an arena fighting game. I don't know why you would need any story for those characters anyway. I mean, to give it's not the point. But whatever. I'm pretty sure they just went and made him, I'm sure, transgender. Yeah. But
Hmm.
I was like, what? Soldier 76 is female now? What's going on? I suppose it could be a legacy character, but everybody else looked the same. I don't know. But yeah, no, we definitely got some things to talk about with that. But you know what? My decision I made, Grimlock, is because I was cleaning my computer up and, you know, just making it run smoother and, you know, all that kind of stuff you have to do sometimes. And it's
Yeah.
an arena shooter. Thank you, Devilish. I'm not sure what they call things these days. But I kind of made a decision that, you know, I'm just going to stick to my indie shit. I don't need that AAA stuff at all, dude. I have no need for it whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Most of the AAA stuff has not appealed to me in quite some time.
mm, yeah,
I mean,
it's nonsense.
it's either shooters or the big open world RPG hybrids that I mean, yeah, the gameplay for some of these games are good. The graphics for these games are good, but they're not memorable.
No, and of course they're constantly pushing an agenda upon you these days. Like that Redfall. I've seen several trailers. I still haven't seen a white person.
Hmm.
I mean, they're literally it's not, even the bad guys are like Asians. There's like no white people in the game.
You know what? That's fine because you know what? They can't blame white people in the game for the villain. I'm for this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough.
I'm
But I
for
mean,
that.
I don't know. I haven't played it, so I don't know. But it is weird, you know, that you wouldn't. You know, I don't have a problem with you trying to market to everybody, sure, but this is not that, right? But anyway, what I did was this weekend, for the very first time, everybody, I played Blade and Soul.
Hmm.
Interesting.
I had been wanting to try it for years, and I couldn't load it a couple times because I didn't have a VPN back in the day. Now I do, so I was able to actually play it. And you know, it's definitely not an MMO that I'm going to stick around for the end game. But I'm enjoying the story. It's basically a kung fu movie.
Hmm.
It's
I've
kind of
never even heard of
cool.
it.
Yeah, no,
What's it
it's
called?
Blade and Soul. It's one of the Korean MMOs. It's The
Yes.
combat's fun. It looks fine, even though it's pretty old. They just had a Unreal Engine update some little bit well
Nice.
back, so it looks better. But it's basically a kung fu movie with a fantasy kung fu movie. And
Hmm.
I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm not going to stick around for Endgame. I'm not going to grind that out. That game is not worth it. But the story's fun. However, I did go back and I just because they just came out with a third major expansion, and I was like, screw it. So I returned to Guild Wars 2, and I just bought the whole damn thing.
Bought it all.
Yeah, just bought it. Thing's 10 years old, and it's still one of the best MMOs you could play. It's ridiculous, dude. I don't know what the hell's going on in the world, but it's so much content, so much stuff. So I'm just that's my MMO. I'm just going forward with that until something gets
What's
my
funny
attention.
is old World of Warcraft, the Fallen King, um, is getting ready to ape World Wars Two, Guild Wars 2 mounts. because you know that they're flying mounts and things, the way
Yeah,
that they
that's
operate.
good. Good
In the
idea.
next expansion, they're gonna basically rip that off, from what I gather. And yeah, that is a good idea because from what I understand, their mounts are really cool the
No,
way they
they
work.
are. Guild Wars does mounts best. They have all different ways of moving around the world. They're very creative that way. That's cool. But that's one of the interesting things about this MMO. It reminds me a little bit of WildStar, which is dead, unfortunately. But in Guild Wars, you can kind of do what you want to do. You can follow the main quest, which is basically about you. You can do side stuff. You can do boss stuff that happens in the world. You can do explore and just exploring around the world. And they have a lot of like puzzle jumping type of stuff where you got to kind of get yourself into very difficult areas to get points. It's got all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. The mounts are really good. And if you're, I don't really care as much about this, but if you're into the whole fashion thing in an MMO, they do it really well. So, if you're into that, some people are all about, blinging out their character and making them look epic and stuff, which I want my character to look good, but I don't really, that's not my thing. Although Black Desert's gotta have them all beat on that, I would think. But I can't get Black Desert to play for me because that stupid Korean company can't get their shit together. NCSoft, I can have it come up on English, right? But no matter
hmm
what I try to do, even trying to replace the LOC key in the file, I can't get it. Only wants to run in Japanese. I can't get an English version. I swear I could hack one, and I'm sure I could go through a bunch of bullshit. But I'm like, screw that shit.
rigmarole.
Yeah, rigmarole, and
Yeah,
I'm like, no, it's not even worth it. Although Black
no,
Desert has become a pretty good game, but no, I'll stick me with my Guild Wars. But man, I just can't. And let's just get into it because I got a page up that we're going to be able to look at some of the stuff that's going on with Xbox, particularly. But this AAA stuff looks like crap, dude, and it's literally telling me it doesn't want me to be involved in it, right?
yeah.
Where the indie stuff is just so many cool indie stuff coming, dude. There's so many
And
cool indie stuff.
the crazy thing is, all these companies got so big and they had all the talent gobbled up for so long. Well, a lot of that talent has left them,
True.
and you see a lot of these indie games, a lot of these indie studios now are former guys from like, the good people from Blizzard, the ones who actually made good shit.
Yeah.
The people from same with BioWare and some of the Bethesda guys and yada yada, and even like CD Projekt Red's actual team that made The Witcher 3. Most of them are gone and made started new studios or work for smaller studios now. That kind of stuff is really healthy for the industry, and it's great for gamers because I think we've all been burned enough by the big guys that no one trusts them
Right.
anymore. Yeah, I don't. I would hope there's not a huge number of people out there who are just die-hard Bethesda fans still, right? Like they're just
Well,
gonna, no matter what, they're gonna buy Bethesda games, even if they're dog shit. They probably will, but I would hope people have learned. I know I learned my lesson. I will never pre-order a game ever again.
no, don't do
Um,
that. Don't do that. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely don't do
no,
that. Well, I watched the Xbox Bethesda showcase. Well, most of it, and the Starfield had a very long thing, and oh man, it looks boring, dude. And this thing is not. It's coming out sooner than you think. So I don't know, dude. Because I would enjoy Skyrim in space, I think.
uh huh.
But it just doesn't look interesting. It really doesn't. And of course, in the in the stuff they showed, so many of the people you're interacting with that they showed us anyway are all bitch faced ladies and very, very, very dark black people. I guess the
Chester.
the, the future
Well,
is of science is black people.
well,
Congratulations, Grimlock.
the thing is about Starfield, from what I saw, because I watched it too.
Yeah.
Have you played the game, The Outer Worlds?
No, I wanted to because the creator there is pretty badass.
Yeah. So I've put about 8 hours into The Outer Worlds.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
I've played a little bit of it, and I watched that presentation, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going, what about this game is so different that I can't do playing The Outer Worlds? Because everything that I saw, I'm like, this just looks like a more dialogue driven Outer Worlds, and I'm like, well, I mean, I can pretty much do everything there
Right. Better creative team,
in this
better writing
game.
team, maybe. Yeah.
And to me, like from the areas that I've been so far, it doesn't have that dark, dull color palette that so many games have adopted these days.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's way too early to give an opinion on Starfield, but it just
It was
didn't. It was boring, dude.
devilish. It was. It was because I was watching Max while watching that, and it was running. Even he said it looked like it at best was running 24 frames
Yeah,
per
that's
second.
true.
It
And all of
it looked
us,
really good.
it did, and pretty much all of us with a actual dedicated computer were at minimum 60 FPS now. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, my graphics card is a little older, but it's still badass, and I run at 60 or higher. And I know people
Yeah,
are up and over 120 now. The real,
yeah.
the guys are staying on the edge. But yeah, no, it just I don't know. I'm not I'm going to hold reservation because it may and reserve my opinion. But it just didn't look interesting. There's nothing interesting to me with that, which is unfortunate. There is a little bit of interesting news on that that we don't know much about. But there was a dude way back in the day. I do believe his name is Ken. I think his name is Ken, maybe. But he was the boss and lead designer for a little game called City of Heroes. Went over and created Champions with his team. Then he went over and created DC Online with his team. He is now the boss of a new MMO, which he says
Really?
is the most ambitious thing he's ever done. Interesting, because you created City of Heroes, buddy. Yeah, that's pretty freaking ambitious. But he
Yeah.
says it's the most ambitious thing he's ever done. And just to let you know, it's an MMO with the a Marvel IP.
Uh oh.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Uh oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
You mean I'm finally gonna get that replacement to Marvel Heroes Omega that I've been waiting nearly 7 years for?
Maybe. Yeah. I think
Uh-oh.
you're
Don't
still a few
don't.
years out, but that's the right dude to hire. Someone over at Marvel made a smart choice.
I'm gonna
Yep.
get my weather goddess back. Thank you.
Be
Well, I'm
nice.
assuming if it's with him in charge, you're going to be able to make your own character. They'll either
Yep.
use the Inhumans or mutants or something. They'll have a reason. You make your own character, and you'll probably we don't have information. I'm speculating, but you'll probably interact with certain, Marvel characters. I am sure, like Marvel's Ultimate Alliance stuff, and I'm sure you'll have team up moments and such. But this is what we always wanted. We want a Marvel game where I get to make my own character and interact in Stan Lee's universe. That's what I want. That's what I
Yeah.
want. And DC
That's
Online gave
cool,
us
but
that. Huh?
that's cool.
Yeah.
I like the creative player option, but just give me Storm. I could care less about the rest. Give me Storm, Ghost Rider, and Morbius, and I'm a happy guy.
Well, you know what you could do? You know what would be
And
smart?
Morbius needs a redemption after this bullshit Sony pulled. So
I see. I enjoyed that movie, but
I haven't watched it yet. So
oh, you got to watch it because
all
the
right.
Morbius movie. That is a throwback to an old sci-fi horror movies of the past. And
Yeah.
it's a movie for adults. And what I mean by that is that you could sit down and enjoy a movie that takes time to explain the characters and deliver the world, and you don't have the Michael Bay boom every 5 minutes. If you're an adult, you will enjoy that movie. If you're not, you won't.
The last few movies I've seen in the theater, by and large, have been that. There have been a few, outstanding ones that
The
weren't, but
Northman,
most of them, yeah.
Batman,
They,
yeah,
I honestly do think that I don't know what's going on, or maybe I'm just better at picking what I go watch now, but there's something has changed in Hollywood. I don't know if it was the pandemic or what, but they have seemingly grown up a little bit, or at least lately they have. And they've been doing a lot more movies that they give them a lot of time to breathe. They play with silence more. They play with where basically nothing happening, but it's setting a stage,
yeah,
building tension.
yeah.
I think
They're
they're
doing
doing
that a
pretty
lot
good.
more in these bigger and bigger movies, and that's a good thing. That we lost that. One of the things when you go watch old movies is
they're way more intense.
Oh yeah.
And the reason they're so much more intense is because they're so much quieter.
Hmm.
There's so much less going on. And
Oh, yeah.
that means that the actor has to, actually work and do his job and pull you into this scene through his acting. And some actors can do that. Some actors do it amazingly well. But a lot of these modern actors, they can't act. They're not able to actually pull you in because they either have CGI doing all the work for them, or it's one of these Michael Bay style movies that is just shot, 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 shot,
Right.
shot, shot, shot,
And
shot, just
the
constantly. There's
right.
no time for them to act.
And
There's
Well,
no
there's a
time.
well, it's not just that too. It's that you have a couple of actors that are so charismatic as people.
Yeah,
They have basically been allowed to escape their entire career
yeah,
just playing themselves. It's like, like they said about, The Rock. The Rock doesn't play a character. He just plays himself with a
yeah,
different costume on.
sure.
And it's
right.
Like
it's
Bruce
because of
Willis.
his
Yeah. Or
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's because
Keanu
of their
Reeves.
natural it's because of their natural charisma, not so much as that they're great actors. I mean, to be honest, we've seen better actors on TV shows
Sure.
that never made it to the big screen, but they was really
yeah.
good at what they did,
Right.
to pull you into those moments. And you got
Well,
a lot of guys that's just like, you know, they're just that. They're just that 24/7.
yeah, they they
Yep.
they they are what they are. But give it a good example of that. My wife was watching United '93 the other day, and
Hmm.
I don't really need to be reminded of September 11th, but whatever. But the acting was solid in that, and there's not one person you'd recognize because they're all character actors.
Right.
But it was really good acting. But it's a good point. That
I
but
can't remember his name. Maybe you guys know it, but the guy who plays the guy in John Wick who plays the head of the Continental. What's his name? I
No,
can't think
that
of his
dude.
name.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I don't know his
But
name.
he's one of those
Cool.
actors who's kind of got a little bit of both, kind of like a Christopher Walken, right? But he's so good at what he does. He does pull you in,
He's the next
right? I
Morgan
think
Freeman.
I think there's another example of that, which Grimlock is going to disagree with because he hates him, is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise plays the same character pretty much every
Always.
movie,
I
but he
always.
does it so freaking good that you don't care.
Yeah,
And I don't
well,
think that's
Yeah,
how Tom actually is in real life. But I think he found his method, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, and that's just what he
angry
plays.
manlet.
you either like it or you don't like it. But he
Right,
is Tom
right,
Cruise all the time, exactly same as Dwayne Johnson, right?
yeah,
Yeah. They are what they are. It's true. And as far as the Michael Bay stuff, I mean, sometimes it's fine. Depends on the movie. Like the
yeah,
Spider-Man movie, that was very much a for the kids family movie, and
hmm
the pacing was insane, right?
Yeah,
But that's okay. It's for that demographic, right?
and it's Spider-Man.
And it's
It should be.
yeah.
Spider-Man. It should be like
Yeah.
that. So I mean, it's not that the Michael Bay style isn't fun. It's just there are more than one way to watch a movie. And
Well,
I
and you
really,
got like Michael Bay's best movie, in my opinion, is still The Rock. I absolutely
oh,
love
that
The
was a
Rock.
great movie. Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
fantastic
yeah.
film
But
with an actor like Sean Connery, who is one of those actors who can do both. He can just be a force in a
yeah,
movie just because he is, or he can go out there and put on a performance that you'll remember forever.
right.
Like he can do both. Most actors,
Yeah,
especially modern ones, can't do both.
but keep in
Can't do
mind
both.
with The Rock, he had 30 producers sitting on his shoulders.
Yes.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Probably because he had Sean Connery, and Sean wasn't going to play no nonsense at
And
the
he
time.
didn't. He was a bit of a pain in the ass on set, actually, which
Yes.
not shocking. But the thing with Morbius, I think it's very unfortunate because it is what it is. Like I said, it's a throwback movie. It's an old sci-fi horror movie, and they did it really well. The homage is beautiful, and it's getting a lot of hate all over the place, and it doesn't deserve it. That is a solid, solid movie. I mean, I would give that a 6, right?
Oh, I
With
haven't seen
Well,
it.
the thing is, Morbius is. I consider him like one of those tragic characters because of
He
his
is.
origin,
Yeah.
and I don't think that most people who go to watch at the MCU get that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they get that aspect of it because I mean, if you just look at how most of the characters are portrayed, even the ones who have darker origins like Black Widow, like they don't get that. They don't kind.
Right.
They're not. They haven't been good at getting that kind of
Well,
darkness
I think this
across.
movie sold that well, though. I mean, I don't think you can make a better origin story movie for Morbius. I don't. Now, I know a lot of people like, where's Spider-Man? Okay, fine. They could have done a different movie where the whole movie takes place in one night, right? Where he's, we get a bit of flashbacking to where his problem is. He tries the serum, he goes crazy, and Spider-Man's got to stop him, right? You could have done
Yeah.
that style. But what they gave us was a full life story of the tragedy of Morbius, and maybe that's just what people wanted, the one night boom 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 action thing. I don't know, but it's getting hate and it doesn't deserve it.
Hmm.
Anyway, let's move on. We got to get into it.
Let's
All right.
move on to this bitch. Rumor: latest Aquaman 2 test screening reveals Amber Heard's screen time increased to 20 minutes. I would actually not be surprised because the people who run Hollywood are evil, and of course they would reward her. Of course they would. I mean,
I can't believe this rumor is true. I can't.
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not saying it is, but it would not surprise me, especially with WB. The WB is they're old Hollywood, and they're bad people. Just there's no other way to put it. They're not good people, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, for crying out loud, they ruined with her help, at her behest, they ruined Johnny Depp's career. I mean, he's going to get it back, thankfully, it looks like. But
Well,
for years, it was pretty much ruined. And that's ridiculous. I'm not even a big Johnny Depp guy. I don't really even like Johnny Depp.
I don't
But
like
there's
him at
no
all.
reason
Yeah.
he should be destroyed based on lies.
No. It's
And
true.
then she keeps her job when the lies come out. And literally in a court of law, it's said that she's lied with malice, and yet somehow she hasn't been
Well,
blacklisted like he was.
she, by her own words, she lied with malice.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it is a debacle. But the thing with Johnny is, I don't expect you'll see him in anything for quite a while. He's making a lot of money off of Dior and other things. He's got a ton of
Mm-hmm.
cash. He enjoys just going out playing on weekends with Alice Cooper and Jeff Beck. I mean, honestly, if I was in his
What a
position
life.
and I could just tour with Alice Cooper and Jeff Beck, fuck the rest of it, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Damn right.
He'll
honestly.
probably land in something that, because he'll go back to his roots. Because Johnny came up as not doing big movies. He was doing the small shit because
Alice will
that's what
get
he
him
liked.
right. He'll find him a good church girl.
Maybe Alice will convert him. Maybe that's what'll happen. Alice will turn him into a deep Christian like him, which still boggles my mind that Alice
Well,
Cooper.
Alice Cooper, yeah. Well, maybe Alice will. I mean, to be honest with you,
Yeah, he'll
maybe
find
he
him a good
will.
church girl.
Yeah, maybe he will.
That's going to be my new head canon.
That's what Johnny needs. Is a nice, good conservative church girl take care of him. Keep him away from these crazy bitches because he clearly has a problem where he just is attracted to crazy because he's
It's true.
crazy.
It's true.
So he needs something to balance those scales for him. Somebody sane and normal and down to earth.
Johnny has done some wild, wild stuff. God would turn over
Yep.
and well, I guess he's not supposed to be dead, but God would be upset. Let's just say
Listen,
that.
if God can forgive a man who went around and murdered Christians for sport, he can forgive anybody.
Fair,
Oh,
fair. I wouldn't mind to see Johnny go back and go back to his old self,
yeah.
because he's done some pretty good stuff. I mean, when we think of modern Johnny, it's boring and it's not very interesting. But
Mm-hmm.
keep in mind that Johnny Depp was Donnie Brasco.
That's right.
Not forget that, please,
Yeah.
because that was a performance and a half right there.
No,
The
Johnny can
dude
act.
can act.
He can
Yes,
act.
yes, he can.
Yeah. He's one of the best actors going, and he has been for a long time. He just got, he made all that money with the Pirates movies and things, and he loved being Jack Sparrow, and kids loved it, and he loved that aspect of it because he never really had that as an actor, because he was always, making the weird art house stuff usually, and so he really liked that aspect of it, and he just never really got a chance to go back, from what I can tell, because
Well,
it's kind of hard, right? Once you've hit that level, that huge blockbuster level, they don't usually go back from that. They either just go away or they just or they take 15 years off or 10 years off, and then they come
Right.
and show up on a TV show or something. But
Yeah.
it's not usually a regression instantly. It takes time for people to forget about you, for people to miss you. And Johnny hasn't really had that, at least not by his choice, except for this nonsense that's been happening. But I think that's what we will see. You know what I think? Honestly, I watched a video from our boy Razor Fist talking about westerns, and Chester, I've said for a long time, I think westerns are going to make a resurgence, a big one, a real one. I don't think they're going to take over like they did in the 50s and the 60s or whatever, the 40s, 50s, and 60s, where everything was a western basically. They made like 800 westerns in 10 years, something like that. I don't think that's going to happen, but we're going to see a big resurgence of them. It'll only take one or two of them to really hit big for that to happen. And Johnny would be great at that. He would be fantastic as some like old marshal or old outlaw. You let him throw himself into it, he would give you a fantastic performance because you don't need to be a big imposing force physically to be in a western. A lot of the old westerns had small guys, but if they were believable with a gun, then that's all that mattered. Or if the story was good, that's all that mattered. Johnny would be really good at like mystical westerns, right? We haven't had one of those in a long time, at least not a good one. Like a High Plains Drifter or whatever. I think Razor called them elemental westerns. I think that's what they're called, where the protagonist is more of a super force, right? It is a force of God or a force of nature or whatever, with very little to no backstory, and they just show up and clean up evil. I think Johnny would be really good at that. So I don't know. We'll see if that happens, if there is a resurgence, and we'll see where his career goes. But Miss Heard's career needs to go away. She just needs to go away.
Yeah, no, and I think it will. But that's why I can't believe this rumor. There's no way because it doesn't matter what Hollywood thinks Grimlock. It doesn't matter of the people that are popping up trying to support her and stand behind her and say it was all a lie, even though her own words, her very own words, are a lie. I guess.
Yeah.
But the thing with it though, Grimlock, is the public opinion is in. And it doesn't matter right or wrong. It doesn't matter. Public opinion is in. If they move forward with Amber Heard in this movie at all, they will bomb. They will bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So,
I think that they're just. I think they're really banking on people just gonna ignore that and go, well, she's a bitch, but she's still hot.
well,
Cause
it's interesting you said that because my wife asked me, "Is she even pretty?" And I was like, "Well, she's very fuckable."
yeah,
And my wife looked at me sideways. And then, but I said, but the thing is, clearly she's good at it because all these dudes she keeps sucking in. She must be just freaking wildcat in bed, dude. She must be.
Oh,
And
she's crazy. Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
she's got that appeal. I said, and she didn't get it because she does. There's pretty actresses. There's interesting actresses, cute, funny. There's all kinds, right? I mean, men
yeah,
have different. We have categories, right? But that's a one night stand right there, and it might well be the best one of your life.
yeah. She's crazy. She's a crazy, crazy, crazy woman. Probably let you do just about anything you want and enjoy it because she's just that crazy.
I
There was some weird testimony that came out in that trial of how like she was so controlling that she would do things like she'd get mad at Johnny if he took off his own shoes because that was her job.
holy
Stuff like that.
shit, dude.
Like that is a level of crazy
Yeah.
that it might be fun to play with, but good lord, are you? I mean, you're just sticking your dick in a blender if you're.
You are.
you're
That's true. But it's funny you said that because, yeah, I've had a couple of girls that have said, you can do anything you want to me. I was confused. I didn't know what that meant.
you're so innocent.
Grimlock.
I've had a girl tell me that before too, and she didn't mean it. So that's all I'll say. She
Well,
didn't mean it.
I don't know what she meant. I know about a dozen positions.
A dozen? You
Yeah.
gotta get you that comp. Get you. You're in Japan,
I
bro.
really, I'm too old and tired for more than that. My repertoire is set and practiced, Thundero. Uh, so I did, but I don't know what anything you want to me means, and I don't want to know. Grimlock, don't you tell me. You don't need to educate me, Grimlock.
There's nothing I can add to that because it depends on what she thinks anything falls under.
Yeah.
I guess, but see,
So
I never understood what does that mean. What is there more than what there is? I don't understand.
Well, it's kind of like Chester. It's kind of like when you say to your woman, "Hey, what do you want to get to eat?" She says, "Oh, I don't know, anything. You pick." And you pick, and it's never what she wants, so it's always wrong.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like that.
Oh, well,
but
see,
the
I
other
don't
way.
play that game though. It's either my turn or her turn, and when it's her
Ah,
turn,
yeah.
she always tries to pawn it off on me. I said, "Nope, it's your turn. Choose," and she does. Oh, my water's boiling. I have to go get that.
Oh, he better go get his water, or it breaks. No, I had that lovely pleasure earlier with the missus. She was having a fit because she was hungry. You know how women get when they're hungry. So we were driving back from the store, and I said, "Okay, what do you want? We got to drop off the food because we had stuff that needed to be frozen, and then we can get you something to eat if you want." And she goes, "I don't know, you pick." I was like, "All right, so you want a sub?" I knew you were gonna pick a sub. Well, then what do you want? Like, woman, she got womaned. Eventually,
Yeah.
what ended up happening is we came home. I threw a chicken patty in the microwave and made her a chicken patty sandwich, and that's what she had. That's what she ended
Yeah.
up with because she wouldn't make up her mind. But yeah, that's a common problem. I've often thought, and I'm sure it already exists, but I've often thought about locally creating a restaurant called I Don't Know. That way, we can just end
Yeah.
that argument forever. I don't know what I want. All right, just take them there. We'll have everything. What do you got?
Yeah.
Ladies. But no, this Amber Heard thing's annoying. There's no good reason she should still even be in this movie. There's no way they
No.
couldn't edit her out, and they
Well,
should have edited her out. If we're gonna have a society that blacklists people for accusations of impropriety, just accusations
yeah.
is all she did, and Johnny got blacklisted from basically everything when it came to Hollywood acting. Um, if we're gonna have that, okay, but we need to have that for everybody. We can't have this exalted class of whatever that's just not allowed to be touched because
Right.
reasons. That's
Well,
preposterous.
to be
Well,
honest, most of them could be
I
canceled anyway.
that to be honest, I think the title that Chester has given the show tonight is appropriate because it seems like Warner Brothers, if nothing else, over the last 6 months, has invested a lot in doubling down on
Yep.
two notably bad people with this is not even a case of the court of public opinion. It's like, motherfucker, we got evidence, we got receipts. What
Yeah.
more do you guys need to see that you guys are not firing these people? And
Yeah.
Warner Brothers just seems to be doubling down, or at least they was prior to this merger. It's
Speaking of the
gonna.
other,
There he is. Look at him. Look at him and all his queerness. Tokata Iron Eyes responds to parents' claims that she was groomed by Ezra Miller. Quote, "This is my life. These are my decisions." End
okay.
quote.
So, since we're talking about Warner Brothers train wrecks, I figured we'd also talk about Mr. Ezra Miller. I don't know if I'm allowed to call him Mr. I think it's supposed to be Zim or Zimsim
Yeah.
or some other
I'm
kind
not
of.
calling him Mister because I'm not going to lower myself
Mm.
in the association.
Here's the
Uh,
thing, though.
he's little boy Ezra.
He has been palling around for, it seems like 4 to 6 years with a little girl who has just turned 18. Just.
Yeah.
So he's been hanging around this girl as a minor, taking her wherever he wants to take her. And this has become a new thing because the parents are like pressing charges, it seems, finally. And I know you're saying, well, she's 18. They don't have anything to say about it. Well, that's not tribal law. Yeah. It's very interesting. If you guys have yourself a free afternoon and you want to do some interesting reading, go read tribal laws at pick one. Just go read them. They're quite different than federal law. And I don't know that how much the federal government lets them get away with this or that, but they are different. And it doesn't matter if you're 18, you're still a responsibility of the parent. So under tribal law, she is not legal age. But here's the
Hmm.
real thing I have. You've been letting your little girl, Takata Iron Eyes, running around with a supposed gay man who has been doing illicit things to this girl of her own volition, to be fair. My question comes back to the parent: what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
But charges, and he can't be found, by the way. He's in hiding. There's actually a federal warrant for the rest of Ezra Miller right now, just so you know that.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Uh, hopefully if he's found guilty, which he most likely would be, they throw him away for a long time. He's not gonna, but it'd be
No,
nice if they would.
it's going to be tough because the girl is 100% behind him. Although, as far as the court in within the Sioux reservation, I'm sure they'll find him guilty, but they carry no power. Yeah, I don't know. It's just another in the saga of freaking Ezra Miller. He attacking women left and right in Hawaii and in Iceland and stuff like that, getting arrested for his abuse of the women. But yet he's been towing around a literal teen girl with him for years to various places, doing who knows what to. I thought he was gay. What are you doing, Ezra? Have you
he's
have
just
you
a pedo.
have you
That's
lost
what
the
he is.
line, son?
A
But
lot of these public weirdos like that, the reality is they're just pedophiles and they're using these other things as beards to hide what they're actually about. I mean,
maybe,
come on, look
but
at
I
this.
mean, it's very suspicious, or as the young folks say, sus. Because why did it take you these many years, parents, to actually file? What's going on here? There's something really weird going on. Is this just publicity chasing or something by the parents? I mean, it could be. But it doesn't matter. Once again, Ezra's in the headlines for something bizarre and disgusting. Once again,
Yep, within months, within a
weeks,
few
dude,
months. Yeah,
weeks.
like this dude is he's complete and utter scum. There's no other way to put it. He's a trash human being. He should be blacklisted from everything, in my opinion, because he's just a garbage person, just a genuinely terrible human being who assaults people, who violently assaults people, who apparently
Mm,
grooms a young lady.
mm.
Um, there's really no way to redeem him in my eyes, especially. And the fact that he still somehow has not been fired by Warner Brothers, still to this day, as far as I'm aware, has still under contract with that company, tells
Hmm.
you everything you
And the
need to know
movie's
about
still
that company.
coming. The movie's still
Yeah,
coming.
everything you need to know about the old WB and how evil their executives are, right here. That's all you need to know. You don't need anything else. If you need more, I can't help you.
Mm.
Because how do you support this? How do you continuously support this individual and not be a bad person?
Now you got some Indian in you, Thundero. Are you
Yeah,
offended by the abuse of your people?
no, no,
Okay.
no. My people. For one, she's not one of my people. I'm Cherokee. But
Oh,
two,
fuck the Sioux. I get it. All right.
yeah, well, yeah. Have you ever met a Sioux? Fuck the Sioux. Um, and two, no, I'm not because, like you said, here's my thing. I got two sides of it. Fuck Ezra Miller. He's a piece of shit, scumbag, trash.
Fair. Fair.
But also, the parents of this girl are just as much a piece of shit, scumbag, trash.
I agree. I agree.
So
Yeah.
it's like we're looking at two big piles of poopy, big old doo doo piles, and I'm like, listen, I don't like either doo doo pile. Both the doo doo piles smell like doo doo. I don't want nothing
Yeah.
to do with them.
Yeah. No. Now,
So no.
Now, Grimlock, Thundero's an American mutt. You are
That's
as
right.
well. Do you
That's right.
have Grimlock? Do you have any Jubis in you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to give you Ezra.
Nah,
He's like, no, no, no. I'm not even in, and I'm kicking him out.
wouldn't want them even if you paid me to take them.
How sad it is that I'm the only blue blood here. Sad.
Yeah.
I'm all alone,
Yeah.
Chad.
You're a pedigree. He's
I
a
know.
pedigree over there.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
boring. I know. Yeah. But whatever. I just thought they would just certainly these stories would juxtapose to each other. And God, man. The thing is does he have a career left? Because he's literally on
He
the run.
shouldn't.
He's literally in hiding from the police right now.
I mean, he really shouldn't. I mean, for as much as we just said about Amber Heard, this guy's legitimately 10 times worse.
Yeah, she's
And
just a crazy bitch.
I mean, granted, I think she should go away for a while.
Yeah.
I think she should. I'm kind of going to use the old wrestling philosophy: go away, get yourself a new coat of paint, come back. Um, Ezra Miller, I don't think he should. I think this should be it for him because the dude's
It
clearly
should
got
be.
some fucking issues.
Clearly.
The dude's got some issues. The kind of shit that he's doing would get the average person put in jail for 20 years. And it's not like this kid's a draw. Like, seriously, I don't know who at Warner Brothers likes this kid, but like,
He
there's never
nibbles
been a
the
movie
testicles.
well, he must be one hell of a ball sucker because I can't see what he's done because it's not his movies. There's not a single movie he's been in where everybody goes, "Oh God, he was incredible."
Yeah, it is weird. Yeah. But
He's not that.
it's sad. He's been the mascot of this channel for years.
No,
Y'all
I'm
need to be
petitioning
mad.
right now. I'm petitioning right now to replace him with our Lord and Savior Henry Cavill,
Oh, fine.
the great nerd Christ himself.
That's such an obvious choice, though, Thundero.
Yeah, I'm fine with being basic when it comes to
Can I
Henry.
choose young Peter Welling instead?
No, he's old now. That doesn't count.
Oh.
Henry's still young. Well, youngish. He's getting up there, but he's still youngish.
How about Army Hammer?
No, that name is ridiculous.
Jesus.
I refuse it. Army Hammer. First of all, that's not his real name. I don't believe that. I want to see his damn birth certificate.
How about
And
Chaz?
second of all,
How about Chaz
I'm gonna-
Butterting?
I'm gonna be honest. Army Hammer sounds more like a porn star name.
It does.
It's not.
It does. Yeah, it does.
I literally have no idea who Army Hammer is. I hear people say his name all the time. I don't think I've ever seen anything he's in.
He's
Isn't
not
that
a bad
the guy
actor,
who's
actually.
the Green Arrow?
No. He's the guy that was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with Henry Cavill.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah. It's a fun little spy movie, dude. Nothing too
No.
serious, but it's not a bad movie.
Until
If you like
Henry,
go watch it.
Until Henry full on cucks, he's the mascot.
I
I've
don't think he
decided.
will. I don't think he gives enough shit, nor does he
I
need
don't
the
either.
money.
No, he doesn't.
That is
He's
what
doing
the
all right.
British call a lad.
And he's very smart with his money. He doesn't, if you look at his, he'll post videos from his house. His house isn't anything special. It's a house, right? It's not some lavish, nonsensical house in London. It's just a house in London.
It's because he's
just
a
like
lad,
everybody else
though.
does.
That's my
Yeah.
thing. That's why I call him that, because he's one of those actors that just isn't, just because of money and fame, he still is Henry.
Yeah.
Right? He's just one of those people that are like that.
All I
God
know
bless
is
him,
he's such a nerd that he almost missed the call. He did miss the call that he got Superman. Like he didn't answer his phone because he was raiding in World of Warcraft.
That's awesome. Yeah,
That's just awesome.
Yeah. And Eric, I think, has the win for us. Bruce Campbell should be the mascot of this channel, especially now that he is writing Sergeant Rock versus the Evil Dead. Dude, I have to do a Sergeant Rock tomorrow. That's it. Done. Decisions made.
Oh boy!
Yeah, Bruce
I
Campbell.
like that.
Yeah, he's the new mascot. I'll have to launch it officially. I do like Henry. He can be the sidekick of Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. In fact, I would be fine with a remake of Evil Dead with Henry in Bruce's role, because
Now,
Bruce is
I
doing a
would
remake.
like to see him try to pull that off. If he could pull that
Yeah.
off, he would be considered an actor to me.
Oh, Henry can act. He just
Well, yeah, but he's just like many of the characters we talked about. He is Henry in everything he does. That's fine. I like Henry, and most people do. But an actor is someone who can be different from what they are, right? And now, if he could play the Ash role in The Evil Dead, dude, I would
yeah.
stand up and clap for the boy. I would.
I think he could do it because
Yeah.
he's that type of dude. Like I think he would love to do that. Right? It would just be that kind of shtick from those movies. Something tells me Mr. Cavill would be very appreciative of it.
Yeah, no, I
So
bet you would. Yeah. And I
yeah.
bet he's a fan of Bruce Campbell just like the rest of us, too.
Oh yeah, everybody
Yeah.
should be. He's amazing.
The
He's
chin.
hilarious.
The chin.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on. We got other more important things to talk about, but man, I mean, Hollywood's got a lot of crap in it, dude. But Warner Brothers needs to clean this shit up, dude. They need to clean this shit
Yeah.
up. Now,
Badly.
this I saw in there from you, sir.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. So there was a whistleblower who came out and dropped some documents about our lovely United States government's attempt at building effectively the Ministry of Truth, the Department of what was it called? Department of I can't remember, but basically it was about disinformation, and it was it was a Ministry of Truth. That's what it was. We can sugarcoat it all we want, but that's what it was. But if you read what this person's saying comes out of these documents, if this is true, now granted it's coming from a whistleblower, so we can't just assume that it's true.
We do have the document here.
Yes. If you read some of this stuff coming out from this guy, I mean, the Biden administration was going to establish straight up fascism. That's what they were looking to do. Like you can sugarcoat it all you want. This would have been genuine fascism.
Yeah.
Almost textbook fascism.
It's under DHS, Disinformation Governance Board.
Yeah,
is what
which is hilarious. They were going to call it EGB.
The GGB.
Kind of like the KGB, yeah.
Yeah, right. But anyway, let's have a read at 3 of these points he's making. Grimlock, why don't you read these points?
Oh Lord. I read this stupidity.
Yeah, number 1, the ministry.
The ministry would regulate disinformation related to the origins and effects of COVID-19 vaccines and the efficacy of masks.
Okay.
Of course they would.
So,
of course.
Once again, you're not allowed to speak about such things. And anytime you're not allowed to talk about something, this is where the fire is.
That's right? What you should be talking about incessantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, and it's, we have a First Amendment, and it literally is the First Amendment.
Number 1.
Not the 3rd or the 10th, but the first. Yeah. And it's there for a reason, because you should be able to talk about whatever you want, whether it's information or disinformation. Now, I don't have a problem per se with someone putting up, like, say, YouTube or Twitter or what have you. And you'll see certain things we'll look at, and they'll have this disclaimer underneath. Go here for the real information. Some people get really pissed at that. I don't mind that, because they're not stopping this person from speaking. They're simply giving.
Well, sometimes they are.
Well, that's the problem, though.
Yeah.
But when they don't, I'm okay. But you should be able to have your voice. You should be able to have your voice. It is the rule of law in America. Now, many other countries in the world do have clauses or wording in their constitutions about the freedom of speech. They do.
Right.
Now, a lot of these people say the America is the only one that has it. It's not true. The difference is America, it has ensconced it in a Bill of Rights, where the other countries have not. But they are in the actual body of the Constitution. The second one here, Thundero, go ahead.
This is the one that's even more, in my opinion, is probably the most egregious. The ministry would provide marching orders to Twitter and other social media, a plain violation of the First Amendment. The quote is, the department has been working on plans to operationalize its relationships with private social media companies to implement its public policy goals. That
Mm.
is a lot of words to say fascism. That's
Yes,
fascism.
that is really
That is
big.
almost textbook fascism right out of Mussolini's mouth. They did the
Yes.
exact same thing. It was one of the first things Mussolini did when he took power
They
was
always do.
this.
They always do
Yeah,
this first.
yeah.
Control the flow of information. So yeah, that's bad, dude.
That's super bad and very dangerous. And
Mm.
I don't know how anybody could actually defend it, to be honest with you. I genuinely don't know how anybody could defend this without being a complete tribalistic moron. Like, if that's true, now granted, I'll give that caveat. It could all be lies. The guy could be full of crap. I don't think he is, though. But if he is, or if he's not, that is the closest we've come to outright, out and out fascistic military or fascistic ministries or agencies, as we call them here, being ensconced with the full power to quite literally take control of narratives from social media networks, who, in my opinion, should not have the power to have control of narratives anyway. That's another topic. Uh, that is insanely dangerous in a supposedly free country. It should outrage every single American who gives two shits about the supposed freedom that we have.
Yeah.
If you don't care about it, fine, and don't that's your business. But if you do care about it, if you do want to leave a world that's more free instead of less free after you're gone, because you're going to be gone one day, then this sort of stuff should terrify you to your core. It should anger you to your core because
Yeah,
it's
no,
wrong.
there's no way they should be doing that whatsoever. A matter of fact, government
Yeah,
should have no interaction in private business at all,
I agree.
particularly the executive government
Yeah,
department branch. Sorry. Now, the judicial can make federal law as they like. It is their
that's
right,
right.
and the state can choose to adopt it or not.
That's
Right?
right.
Because this is another part of the process that people seem not to understand. The Congress can pass whatever the hell law they want. The state has to ratify it.
Right.
And the way that the federal government controls the state government is by saying, if you don't follow our laws, we will not give you taxpayer funding. That's
Right.
how they do it. That's what they do. They control your purse. Just like right now, they're telling schools, public schools around the country, if you do not have some specific transgender bathroom or allow the transgender to go in whatever bathroom they want, we are not going to give you any federal funding for your school. They're
Yeah.
literally doing that right now.
Yeah.
That
It's messed up.
is ridiculous. And the states should stand up and simply not accept these things. I think the states need to become more vocal in letting the world on, the rest of the population understand that we decide, the state decides whether we accept these federal laws or not. Right?
Yeah.
Because keep
Yep.
in mind, there are some other federal laws that you will go to jail for that have never been ratified. Let me give you a big one. The IRS,
Yeah.
never ratified.
Yeah.
Understand that. It did not get its 30 state vote. It is
37.
not technically, as if 37. It's not technically official, but yet you
Yeah.
don't try not to pay those taxes and see what happens.
Well, yeah. If you try to evade, they'll do everything they can to make your life hell, or just straight throw you in jail.
I'm
And
just
if you
saying,
resist going to jail, they'll kill you.
but it's not actually the law of the land.
Right. And it shouldn't be, to be honest. But that's another topic.
Taxation, yeah.
This particular thing here, I don't want to hear from anybody, if they're not against this, about fascism ever again. Ever again. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear you whine and kvetch and moan and cry about Republicans being this or doing that, or Democrats being this or doing that. I don't give a shit what party's trying to do something like this. It's wrong. And it should be resisted with everything you got. And thankfully, there was a big backlash against it from both sides.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons they backed off. But we all know, if they went this far, that they had this much planning, they're not going to back off for long. They're going to push
Right,
this through
but
eventually.
the thing is these people don't think far into the future, and
Yeah.
the simple fact is matter that the Democrats aren't going to always hold power. And if you have this implemented, and you think the GOP wouldn't use this, against
Oh, of
them?
course they
Of
will.
course they would.
Yeah.
So this is a double-edged sword right here, people. But there's just some really not smart people involved in the government. Well, I say right now, but ever. Well, I guess
I don't
there's
think it's a
some.
lack of intelligence. I think it's hubris. I think it's just pure hubris.
I
They
think
they
it's
genuinely think
some
they're supposed to
stupidity.
rule.
I think there is some stupidity involved here, dude.
I hope you're right, because stupidity is much easier to deal with than outright malice. Outright malice, there's only one solution for.
Do
Not going to
you
say it on air, but I think everybody knows it starts with B and ends with T. That's it. You can't reason your way out of that kind of tyranny. When it's outright malicious, there's only one way out.
bitched?
Stupidity, yes, stupidity. There's other ways around, right? You just stop the stupidity. You
Yeah.
get the
Well,
stupid people out of the way and fix it.
Well, look at an example, right? You have Jen Psaki that was in there and as the press secretary, and she
Yeah,
seemed to be running the show more than anything. Now, I don't like that woman at all because she's a nasty piece of shit. And you check her history; she's worse than you think she is. But
yeah.
she could technically do the job. She's not
Yeah.
as good as McKaylee. Was her name Kaylee McEnany?
Kaylee McEnany,
Whatever
yeah,
her
something like
name
that.
was.
And she
That
was a
girl,
cutie. Whew.
she was attractive, but aside from that, she was really good at the job, though. She
Yeah,
never got flustered. She was always prepared. That's how you do that job. She demonstrated how you do that, and so good on her. I really appreciated her because she did a good job, and she was cute. But then, and everyone gave Saki a hard time, and they tried to make fun of her as a ginger and stuff. Technically, she's not a bad-looking lady, but she
yeah,
hates
she's
you.
all right.
She hates you. Just
Yeah.
understand
She
that.
hates
But
herself too,
she
just
hates
so we're
herself,
clear.
yeah. But she's not a unattractive woman though. So I don't really care if they're pretty or not. Like old Governor Huckabee's daughter was ugly as sin. Someone beat
She
her
was
with an ugly bat, dude.
good at the
Uh,
job though.
right, but she was
And
good
that's
at it, but she couldn't keep her temper.
yeah,
That
that's a
was the thing.
sucky job though. I mean,
It
think
is.
about that
It
job.
is.
Your job is to be the face for all of the administration's screw ups. All
Right.
of them.
But Kaylee and even to a certain degree, Saki kept their cool. Right.
Yeah, they did the job fairly well. Um, yeah, I think Miss Saki, or how do you say her name, is competent enough. She
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
definitely more competent than the one they've got now. The one they've
Which
got
is
now,
what I'm getting to.
oof, oof.
This Jean Marie, I understand she's an immigrant, check. She's a lesbian, check, and she is
Yeah,
black, check. So I get all the checks, but that girl is very, very bad at that job, dude. Very bad. I don't think I've ever seen a press secretary worse. And there was some doozies we've had in the past. Keep this in mind. There was some and not just female ones, male ones, really bad ones. But I don't know that I've ever seen any one of them as bad as her. She can't answer a question. She's easily tricked.
yeah,
She doesn't know the information. She's tongue tied. I don't understand why she's there. I'm sure you could have found a black lady, if that's what's important to you, that would be able to get up there and do that job just fine. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure.
yeah.
So I just
Has to
don't
be.
understand the choice of this lady because she cannot handle it, dude. She cannot handle that job. It's embarrassing. Even Russia is laughing at us, dude. Russia
Yeah,
is laughing at our press secretary. They actually had
yeah.
on one of their shows where they're kind of just talking to the people. It's like a celebrity type of variety show, and they were literally did a segment where they're laughing at how stupid she is. The Russians
Right.
are laughing at us. See what you did, Biden. God damn it.
Got the dang vodka drinkers laughing at
I
us.
know, dude. Damn it. Okay. This is for you, Thundero.
Oh boy, I bet. Nicole Main says upcoming introduction of her transgender Arrowverse hero Dreamer in DC Comics canon is needed, quote, to give queer children a superhero who will fight for them.
Okay.
All right. All
Well,
right.
all right. No,
You did this on purpose
I
because you
did.
knew it
I
was going to
know.
trigger me.
I know. I know. But here's the thing: a superhero defends everybody. Thus,
That's right.
superhero. It doesn't really
That's
matter.
right.
So, superhero protect the queer kids too. Okay.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I put this in here once again just to kind of reinforce what we were talking about before. in the beginning of the show. The fact that they keep telling us that unless you have representation in front of you that looks like you and is like you on the TV show, on the movie, in the video game, in the comic, etc., unless you have this representation, you cannot be invested in it. They keep telling us
That's
this.
right.
They've been telling us this for years. Now, of course, we know this is not true. There's certainly not.
Right.
When I was a kid, none of this nonsense was in conversation, and I'm sure Grimlock and even you can remember that. But the thing is, I had a bunch of black friends when I was growing up. I had Latino friends, Italians. I had well, they're kind of the same thing, but you know what I mean. But
Yes.
I had all kinds of people I grew up around with, and you know what? A lot of those dudes like Spider-Man. They like, oh
No,
my God,
they're not allowed. They're
do you
not
know
allowed.
do you know what? Each one of them on their wall had a black velvet of Bruce Lee.
No, no,
Yep,
no.
yep,
They're not allowed, Chester.
yep,
The lefties have spoken. You're not allowed to like other races.
yep.
You're not allowed. And in fact, if you don't only notice their race first and make mention of it, you're a racist. You see.
Yeah.
If for some reason when you're as a black guy, you look up at Bruce Lee, you're like, I like that dude. And you don't say, I like that Chinese dude. You're a racist,
You are.
Chester. That's
So
racism if you don't notice it.
I'm a racist, but I'm also not allowed.
That's right.
Okay, hold on a
That's
second.
right. You
Hold on
can't
a
win,
second.
you see.
Hold on a
There's
second.
no winning this.
I'm a racist automatically because of my
Yeah,
skin
just
color.
baseline.
But
That's
I'm
right.
also not allowed. Well, the good thing
That's right.
is because of this logic, I can simply say, okay, well then this is not for me because I'm
Yeah,
not a transgender.
that's right.
So therefore, I don't have to watch it or feel any responsibility whatsoever. Which brings us to the next article I'm going to get into here because I don't really care about you go girl. Good for you. Hopefully, it's a good show.
Yeah.
I don't
Nobody
know
gives
who
a
this
shit.
person. No one cares. But I don't know who this
No,
person is. But if
and there's
that's
no
a
such thing as queer children, so they can cut that
That's
shit
right.
out
yeah, no,
too.
there isn't. I can
That's right.
verify that. I've been teaching kids for 20 years. Although I have to say,
Okay,
this dude right here, not bad looking, dude. That's not a bad looking dude.
Sheldon Martin in the chat. Ezra Miller said kids need a hero that will abduct them. So
That's true. You got it, Sheldon. That's true. But that's he is a hottie. That's a hottie, dude. No hips though.
That's a
You're not going to be
decent
birthing
one, yeah.
anything. You're not birthing
No,
anything.
no, you're not fooling me, but at least you
You're
look
not
kind of
fooling
like a
me.
girl.
Your penis
Yeah.
is very small. That's probably why you're transgender. That's fair. Did you cut it
Oof.
off? I don't
Yeah.
think so. I think I see a bulge there. It's just a little one. But good on you. I have to say, these days with these transgenders, or what do we I don't know what's the official word? Transgender, I guess.
Apparently.
I know when I was young, we called them he she's.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all so tiresome. This idea that you have to be some form of X for X to like you
Yeah.
is such a regression in logic in the West that it's amazing that it's worked so well, but it has, and I postulate the reason that it works specifically so well on liberal minds is because that's how they thought anyway. They thought anyway.
Yeah.
Because they have deep-seated racial bigotry that they don't want to deal with. So instead, you see, everything has to be about it, and they have to do this dance, right? They have to do this big, oh, see, I'm not racist. I love the blacks, or I'm not transphobic. I love the trans people. Let's put more trans people and stuff. Let's make kids trans.
Well, dude,
It's all nonsense.
if they're all as hot as this one, I'm okay with that.
Oh, God. Chester, buddy.
Yeah.
It's still a man.
I know, but it's a good illusion.
It's not that good a one. I mean, I will say.
Well, if
the
you take
face
it from the
part
waist
is
up,
decent.
it is good illusion. If waist down,
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah.
But that lack of curve there is kind of hard to overcome.
Yeah, no, waist down, you're not pulling it off.
I
do
like me a curvy woman. That's
Well,
just me. I like me a curvy woman.
I believe that they do have the implants. I have seen this lady, Grimlock. Her name is Nicki Minaj, and she has
Oh,
fake
God.
asses.
Yeah.
yeah, don't remind me.
Those are fake. Yeah.
The other thing, here's been my rule since day one with all of these trans people.
Eric.
My rule since day one is very simple. If I can't tell, then I'll call you a woman. I don't care. If you look enough like a woman that I can't tell, you're in. Especially, and you have to have cut off your stuff. None of this half measure bullshit. Get rid of it. If I
Well, yeah,
can't
no,
tell and you've done the surgery, you're in. If I can and you haven't, nah, I'm sorry. You do
yeah,
not. You do not get the. You are not granted the title of male or female. You will.
yeah.
You will have a seat on this council, but you will not be granted the rank of whatever the hell your other gender
Sure.
you're
Well,
trying to be
the
is.
thing is, if you're not an ass and you're just a nice person and you politely ask the people around you, no, I prefer to be called she. Just out of politeness, I would do so. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not being an ass, there's no reason for me not to.
What I
I'll
would
call you by your
say,
name, but I'm not calling you she.
exactly. That's what I've because I've had a couple
Uh,
people try that, and I'll say, well, I won't do that, but I will call you by whatever name you want. You want me to call you Sally, and you're clearly a Steve? Cool. I don't
Fair.
care.
Okay, fair. I'm not as strict as you guys, but I
Because
mean,
names
but
are
because
names are completely superfluous
No,
superfluous.
titles.
No, that's true.
no.
Yeah.
It's really simple. They want the pronouns because they want to normalize something that's not normal.
No,
It's
I
true.
understand you.
You're
You're
not.
right.
You're
You're
not what
right.
you are.
You're right.
So no, I'll give you a name. You want to call yourself Jenny? I'll call you Jenny. I'm not
Hey
calling you
Jenny, how
she.
you doing, Jenny? I might even call you Honey. I might even do that if I'm calling you a girl's name. Might slip out one time, but I won't. I won't feel right with myself if I call you a pronoun you're not.
Yeah.
Pronouns have meanings. They exist for a reason. They don't exist just because of gender constructs. Because it's the way the English language works. It's the way every fucking language works. They
Yep.
exist for a reason, and you don't get to change them just because for some reason it offends you that you're not the one you want to be. Well, sorry, sugar. I want to be 6'9" and have a 12-inch dick. I don't,
Yeah.
but
And
that's just the way the world works.
you don't want a 12-inch dick.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't want that.
How do you know if he doesn't want?
Well, no, because here's the thing, Grimlock.
How do you know he doesn't pray every night?
I'm going to tell you why he doesn't. I'm trying to help him out here. This is a bit
Uh,
of
Uh-oh.
wisdom and experience.
Uh-oh.
The thing is, women talk about wanting a big dick all the time, and then they get one, and then they do
Yeah.
nothing but bitch about it. I'm sore. I can't do it again today. I got to wait a few days. Women want shit that they really don't want. It's like
That's true.
the girl who fills her, or the guy, the person who fills up their plate to the brim but can't eat half of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Eyes are bigger than your stomach.
I hate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying. They talk the game, but they don't walk it. But whatever. It's just the more dumb shit. I don't have a problem with this dude right here. You do your thing, man. You know, whatever. The gay has decided that I am gay. That's the gay. The gay has decided. The chat has decided that I am the gays. I will send a letter to my dick and let it know. Thank you. But moving on. Hmm.
Got it
There we
wrong.
go.
Love
Xbox.
Chester.
Now, I wanted to talk about this one. Now, the Summer Game Fest, we talked about a little bit last week. And oh, I got to remember, I got to do Sergeant Rock tomorrow. I'm definitely doing Sergeant Rock tomorrow. That's an awesome choice. But anyway, so last week we talked about Summer Game Fest and with Jeff Healy, and it wasn't great, dude. But to be fair, guys, I think he's getting paid money to promote certain things over other things. That what he didn't do an award show, he did that like offline, I guess. But it was just what he was showing was clearly AAA stuff he'd been paid to show, and I'm okay with that. I don't really have a problem. But it wasn't great. Then the Xbox Bethesda dropped. Now, keep in mind, at the same time, there's tons of little indie stuff going on. You got the Steam event going on, of course. I'm sure Epic and the other ones are doing their own things, et cetera, et cetera. Because E3 has imploded and is dead, but everyone is kind of June is our time to see the new game stuff. So that's what everyone's doing. However, this Xbox one, woof, dude. Whoa, it was so woke. And I know Grimlock saw it. Um, and Grimlock, I mean, what did you think of the wokeness of the Xbox Bethesda game showcase?
Um, what I've come with a lot of that is like not buying your shit.
Yeah,
like it's at this point, like, I mean, with Bethesda, it's it's not like they've historically been a company that's put out games I've been interested in. Like, I never gave a shit about the Fallout series. I mean, to the
Morrowind was
people who
great
love
though.
Fallout, that great. I mean, like, kind of, I only have semi interest in the Elder Scrolls series, so like, even with that, it's like, eh. So to the people who love those franchises, I feel bad for you if you're tired of the constant pandering, especially when the last three big releases from Bethesda have been subpar.
They have been.
Uh,
It's true. Yeah.
so I I would look, I kind of look at it, how like back in the day when you'd bring home your report card and like you were sagging in a class, and then your parents also got the letter home that you was fucking around in class,
Yeah.
and your dad would just smack you upside the head. You go, if you wasn't in class bullshit, you wouldn't have got that damn C in math.
That's right.
I,
Yeah.
I, I just feel like somebody needs to, smack old Todd Howard behind upside his head. If you wasn't kissing people's ass on fucking Twitter, you guys could actually put out a good game for the first time in 10 fucking years.
Yeah. Well, I did learn something when I was young, Grimlock. I got a C in one class, and I think it was PE.
Oh,
And it was because I forgot to bring my uniform change once or twice. But my mother was so mad that I got a C. She actually brought a baseball bat up to me, and I took it away. I took it away from her. Dad
and
didn't like that
that's where you
much.
fucked up.
Yeah, Dad
That's where
didn't
you
like that,
fucked
but
up.
it would have been better to take the baseball bat from Mom than to deal with Dad. Just for future notice for anyone listening. Yeah, but that's where you fucked up. That's right. But what they did push a lot was the Game Pass, and to be honest, Game Pass is what, $4 a month or something like that. Um,
Depending on the deal, you can get it for like under $5 a month.
yeah,
Um,
it's a pretty good deal,
it's a
really.
pretty good
It's a
deal.
pretty good deal. Yeah. So, and there's lots of games on there, not just what they feature. So I think that's an excellent deal, and the rest of the industry needs to catch up. Starfield,
Yeah.
like I said, looked pretty boring. We'll give it. Well, I'm gonna hold judgment. However, Forza, which if you like racing games, it does have a Hot Wheels thingy in it, which is kind of cool. Okay.
That is kind of cool.
It is
Yeah.
kind of cool. We got basketball as well, if you care. This Redfall, it is the non-whites game because even the vampires are Asians. So if that's your thing, you do that.
Are
Uh,
we
m-
still
I'm,
doing
f- I'm
vampires? My
you know,
God, I'm tired of vampires.
I'm fine with that because it's an original IP. It wasn't, at least compared to all these other IPs where they would just take white characters and swap them out. It's like,
that's
okay,
fair.
you want to make a game with no white people? Have at it.
And they did.
Let's see.
Um,
Now let's see if the fucker's actually good.
Now, here's the thing, though, that I've noticed with a lot of these trailers, particularly in the games, so the summer games festa there. A lot of these trailers, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but they seem to be featuring how you die rather than how the enemy dies. I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of these trailers have you getting absolute wiped out. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah.
What's up with
That
that?
is weird. That is weird.
What is that?
I could put forth two different theories. I could put forth the tinfoil hat theory, and I can put forth the probably more realistic theory. We'll start with the more realistic theory. The more realistic theory is, uh, thanks to FromSoft games, Demon Souls and all them, all the way up to Elden Ring, dying has become a mechanic again in video games. Because
Yeah.
for a long time, you had to really suck to die in most single player games. Like, it was getting silly how easy they were.
Mhm.
Um, that might be why. I think they've caught on that a lot of people, not me particularly, but most people, or not most, but a good portion, don't mind dying mechanics if they're done well.
It's the
If they're done
Dark
smart or
Souls.
whatever.
It's Dark
Yeah,
Souls.
it's the effect of that and the fact that Elden Ring was a monstrous success.
Mm.
Monstrous success. Way bigger than they expected it to
Well,
be. Way bigger than anyone expected
you
it to be.
gave the fans what they wanted. I mean,
Yeah, and you didn't really dumb it down. You didn't pander. You don't, FromSoft doesn't do any of that stuff from what I understand. I don't really follow them that closely. So that could be very well simply be it. They saw that, they've seen the success of these games, and there's been a couple others that have come out that are more challenging than your typical game, or at least typical game of the last 10 years or so. And I think that might very well be it. Now, if I did the tinfoil version is they're masters that control everything, Chester, because they control the world.
Mhm.
Are telling them to prepare the world to be more comfortable with death because they plan on killing us. So
Oh wow, that you went way tinfoil. Okay, cool.
yeah, way
But
tinfoil.
I
I
did,
said it was tinfoil. I said it was
fair,
great.
fair. Well, but I just I noticed it. It seemed odd. It was odd enough that it stood out to me, and I was like, "Why is that?" But whatever. Minecraft Legends. Never played Minecraft. If you like Minecraft, you're probably excited. So
Yep.
fine. Elder Scrolls Online. I do own the base game, but I just don't dig it as much as others. I don't know what it is about it, but I just don't dig it. And I've been played many of Elder Scroll games, but honestly, I always prefer Dragon Age. To be fair, Sea of Thieves, once again, no, okay. Dusk Falls. This is as Dusk Falls. This is one of them. It's like a real life story with something twisted in it, and you're basically playing a movie. And you like those kind of things?
It depends. It depends on if they how well it's done for one, and two, what it is. Right? What's the story? If it's just a lot of times those are like generic like thrillers or horrors, and I don't like that genre at all. I don't like that genre period
Mm.
across any medium. You have to do something really special, like The Shining or something back in the day. You have
Well,
to do something real special to get me to actually like it. It has to be first a very good product, and then the horror aspect has to come later. A lot of them just lean on the jump scares, just jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, and that's not horror. That's fright. There's a difference. You're just frightened a bit. Oh, surprised! You're startled. But regardless of that, so it depends on what they do because you could make a case that the Uncharted games are kind of that way. They have large
eh,
action sequences,
no, I don't mean
but then
that.
they're
You know what I
basically
mean.
movies.
I mean,
Yeah,
literally, you're playing a movie or a TV show. It's that kind of thing. Like A Wolf Among Us is the
gotcha.
only one I've ever enjoyed. How about you, Grimlock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat with you. Wolf Among Us is
Was good. Yeah.
the only one, yeah, and that's because I wasn't even aware of the Fable series, so it was something new for me.
It's a good comic book.
Um, yeah, I learned that through that game.
Yeah.
Uh, um, yeah, that was pretty much the only one. Like I had actually downloaded some of the other ones that Telltale did and ended up never playing them. So
Yeah. Well,
that's
Telltale fell apart, but then somebody picked them up, and A Wolf Among Us 2 is coming. So it's
Yep.
not
yeah.
dead. That's a good thing. You know that now there's a series that they could turn into something HBO Max or Netflix or Disney Plus or whoever owns the rights to it or who can get the rights. That would be a fun little series if they took the comic book and they followed it. That would be fun. It'd be kind of like that Grimm show. Maybe it would maybe be too similar. Yeah. But I don't really. I'm not a big fan of these things. I know some people are though. So good on you. But of course, we had the flight simulator, and you got a Halo Pelican in there. That's kind of neat. And you can even take it into
Yeah,
space. That's kind of neat.
that is
Uh,
pretty cool.
Grounded, didn't care much about it, but once again, more stuff coming for that. So okay, fine. Uh, uh, a Plague Tale Requiem is a weird thing. It's a female-led thing, which okay, fine. Everything seems to be. You got these. You seem to be protecting children a lot. You can control rats, and most of the game, it seems like the kids really don't want you to murder anything. So it's one of those stealth games where you're supposed to not you're trying not to kill, I guess. It didn't. I mean, it looked beautiful. It's stunning graphics, dude, stunning. But once again, where I didn't see anything. It was male led, and this is their main page. There was plenty more that they went on about. But I just didn't see anything in it that really excited me beyond this one. This right here, this plague thing. It did look beautiful, but I'm just kind of skittish, man, because every damn thing is male, and she's making male comments, anti-male comments right in the trailer. So it's like, you really don't want me to play your game, man, because this is the only one
Yeah.
I saw that looked kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what it's the same thing that we've seen happen in comic books, and it's the same exact phenomena. They're not separate. This idea that they can push their audience away or change their audience because X amount of women are over in this other field that's similar, so they think they can draw them into theirs. It's not going to work, guys. It's never worked.
Right.
I've yet
And
to see it work because women and men are different,
yeah,
and we want different things. Now, because they'll say things like, they'll use this very dishonest stat that more than half of all video game players are women.
well,
That's not true.
they're not
More
this
than
kind
half
video
of
game. They're different video
exactly.
games,
They're playing mobile games. They're playing very simple games that don't require to be a gamer. Hard, that the hand-eye coordination that's required that all of us here have. That some people just don't have. My wife's one of them. She doesn't like complex games. She likes them simple. She doesn't want to have to control the camera or any of that stuff. And that sort of stuff isn't easily overcome, and it's not going to be overcome just because you make a game that has a female protagonist. It's not going to be overcome just because you pander to some weird leftist bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just not.
It's not. And we've had female protagonists before. We have. And it's not like we have trouble playing them. And I am going to check this game out because it does look really, really good. But I'm afraid it's going to irritate me. And you're right,
Yep.
guys. It is a stalker game style game. It's a stealth game, and that's nothing wrong with that. Thief is a freaking great series. Go play it. So it could be a lot of fun in controlling rats. But I mean, it's the only thing that interested me, and it's not good, man. But the sad thing is, if you go right now onto one of the big game review places, like IGN, I think is a perfect example. Now, it doesn't matter if you like the politics of those idiots. It doesn't matter. You can go down and you can see all the trailers coming out from everyone, and there's, I don't know, 100 of them, 200 of them. I don't know. It's just a ton. And if you go look through those trailers and just look at them, which I did, the indie stuff looks fun, dude. There's some really cool indie stuff coming. It's the AAA stuff that is just really got me umming and on, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like crap. Like, let's not even split hairs. It looks bad. It looks. This is what I was afraid of. I think I even said this on here before. I was afraid that we were heading for a stagnation, and we've already seen it. To be honest, the last 2.5 years. Where's the games? Where are the games? We have had such a just no games, the dearth of games. Where are they at? It's a void. Now you could say, well, COVID. Okay, fine. But even now, with COVID for most places as, is effectively over, where in the hell are the games? We still don't have, we should have a huge rush of games coming in the next, 8 months here. And I just don't see it. I see there. It's a standard to substandard amount of games that are coming that are supposedly AAA in this coming up here in the fall and in the early spring and stuff. I think there's a serious problem in the games industry. It's not one of money, that's for damn sure. I think I don't know what it is, but I think there's a lot of companies like Blizzard, somebody mentioned Blizzard in the chat, that are focused on all the wrong shit. They're focused on these progressive, woke, as people call it, this nonsense, diversity, all this stuff that doesn't really fucking matter because any human being who has the IQ above that of a potato can make a good video game.
These days.
We know this.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially these days. And we know this because some of the people who made some of those old games, not all of them were geniuses. Some of them were just normal working class level dudes who just busted their ass, learned how to program or whatever,
and created
got
Unreal
to work.
Engine 5, and now everybody can make
video
games.
My point is, though, all that stuff is completely irrelevant to making video games. And we know this because I remember back in the PS2 days, in my opinion, the PS2 was the actual golden age, that era.
Mm.
And I've played through pretty much every era, even the Atari when I was real little. I played the Atari. But I've played through pretty much every era, even though some eras might have had more pop culture significance or whatever. The PS2, they found this balance where they could just pump out games. Just games after game, just insane amounts of games were coming out that were pretty damn good. Some of them were fantastic.
Wow.
And they were coming out of companies you ain't ever heard of before. Like, we all talk about Bethesda and BioWare and Blizzard. Back then, those companies were just cutting their teeth. They weren't huge yet. They weren't the common names of the industry yet. They were making the games that were going to make them that, but they weren't there. And they were made by just random, hard-working dudes who knew how to code and wanted to make cool shit. Right. It wasn't about this big push for, we got to have enough Asians, or we got to have enough gays, or nobody cared about that. They just made shit.
Sure.
And it was good.
And it didn't matter what was in it. But that, of course, is before the internet was playable. Right. And because that changed everything, because you could find a lot of stuff online you can't find on these big companies. I don't know this Stalker game, guys. The second one coming, if you're into it, it kind of looks a little like Metro to me. But Metro was fun. So, Midnight Suns.
I've never played Stalker. I've been aware of it, but I've never played it. It does look cool, though.
I've never even seen it. But Midnight Suns does look like woke dog shit. You're right, and it's a card game. Keep that in mind. It's a card game.
A card game. Jesus.
All they show you is cinematics, but remember, it's a card game. However, Gotham Knights look better. It's basically Arkham style game, but you get to play either as Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, or Red Hood.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that looked fine.
So, I have Steam open right now. Yeah? I have Steam open right now, and I'm looking through the AAA games that I have. Let's see. I have Cyberpunk. I have Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Doom, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, so that's freaking 12 years old or whatever it is now. Fallout 4. And this is just in my Steam. Halo Infinite, I guess, technically, but I just have the multiplayer. I don't have the full campaign. My point is, besides Infinite and Cyberpunk, which, I mean, I don't think these are games we're really going to hold up as spectacular, where have the AAA games been that are any good? In the last 5 years, there have been a handful.
Yeah.
There have been a handful. Because think about it. Red Dead Redemption 2, probably my favorite video game. I'd say it's probably the best game ever made. Just
it is
objective.
It is solid, yeah.
That came out in 2018, bro. That was 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago that game came out. There hasn't been a game that's even close to that in the AAA variety, I'm talking, in 4 years. You can't blame COVID on that. There's something wrong in the gaming industry. I don't know what it is. I have guesses, but there's some serious problem. One of my main guesses is we know that the gaming industry was in trouble in the beginning of last decade, right? 2008 to about 2011. They weren't doing great, as good as they had been. They kind of took a dive for a bit. And Steam and the indie revolution kind of fixed that, in my opinion. They brought an alternative, and you got a whole bunch of these small companies came up and made some really cool shit. I mean, for crying out, Minecraft was an independent game, just as an example, and now it's one of the biggest games. Technically is the biggest game of all time, even though they cheated to get that number. That kind of stuff happened because there was such a stagnation in the AAA market. The AAA market was the same boring, bland, brown shooter. Everything was a boring, bland, brown and gray shooter. Everything.
Like that FPS crap. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was killing the market. They were losing sales. It was going down year on year. They were doing okay, those people putting those out, but everything else was just drying up. Remember about 10 years ago how hard it was to find a good RTS or a good 4X game, like a new one? They just didn't exist. Not really.
You can now.
Oh, now they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they're everywhere. And that's my point, though. That's because the indie revolution came in, and they started making those games, and they did well enough, and we're off. But I think the main problem, I think, in the industry is they never actually fully recovered, and they've actually been in effectively almost a recession, even though the numbers won't show it. because they haven't really innovated. We were talking about this the other night, Grimlock and Booster and Devilish and I think Booster was in there. We were talking about where's the big innovation in these games. We're playing, especially in a shooter, you're basically playing the same game you were 20 years ago.
That's Nintendo's
There's a few little
job.
tweaks here or there, but where's the innovation? Where is the innovation? And it's the AAA games, they haven't innovated anything in a very long time.
No.
In a very long time.
The Call of Duty just looked like the same as all the others. It didn't look very interesting. But Grimlock, the chat has spoken.
Yeah.
Bob, and particularly, he has put down the law. He says, "Fuck Arkham Knights. If I play a Batman game, I want to play Batman, not this sidekicks." And it's going to be all they're going to woke it up. Probably true.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'll give Rocksteady a little bit more leash.
Yeah.
Because they've at least has had a good track record up until now.
Sure.
So I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not pre-ordering the damn game.
Oh no, don't do that. Yeah.
I mean,
don't do that. No.
I'm actually fine with a Batman universe game where it's not about Batman, because let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't care.
As good as the Arkham games was, and Batman has kind of been suffering this major problem in media outside the comics. I'm just tired of Batman versus Joker. I'm fucking sick to death of it.
Yeah.
So if I could get a little bit something different in the Batman universe, I'm cool with that.
I want to play as Nightwing anyway.
Yeah, me too. I want a Nightwing game. Period. Just Nightwing. That would be great.
Yeah. But Grimlock, I just don't think the chat ever agrees with me. I think they come over here just to yell at me.
Probably.
The oppression that is Chester Busby.
Yeah.
I would love a Nightwing anything. Honestly, like if this is the closest I'll ever get to a full Nightwing game, then fine.
Yeah.
But I think Nightwing is a vastly underused character by DC in its like disparate stuff.
And to be fair,
so I'd love a Nightwing anything.
I wouldn't mind playing a Batgirl either.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually agree to some extent. I don't like the miscellaneous bat whatevers. Your Batwoman, your Batgirl, whatever, Batwing. I don't like that, but Nightwing isn't that. I mean, Nightwing's his own dude.
She had sex with the Batman.
She did. That's true. Many times.
On a rooftop.
Well, I'll say that. But I will say this. Going back to like what Thundero was saying, like, for the last 10 years, one of the big problems is with so many of the smaller companies being bought by the big publishers, and then because these companies are fucking publicly traded, and now they serve the shareholders more than the customers. Where if a game developer puts out a game and it doesn't meet the sales expectation, whether they say it out loud or not, that publisher punishes the game dev. And if you look at it, I'll give you two great examples. They both was under the same publisher. Raven Software, in the early 2000s, was most known for the X-Men Legend series. It was excellent. Fans loved it. Well, then what happened? X-Men Destiny happened. Well, what happened to Raven after that? Oh, Raven got relegated to Call of Duty games.
Yep.
Then you take a look at High Moon Studios. High Moon Studios that did something most people thought was impossible, which is they made not one but two really good Transformers games in a row.
Oh yeah.
Well, what happened to High Moon Studios? Well, they wanted to do Deadpool. And Deadpool was a good game. It wasn't great. It didn't reinvent the wheel, but it didn't meet sales expectations. So what happened to High Moon Studios? Well, they got punished too. They fired the team lead and they relegated High Moon Studios to fucking doing Call of Duty games. That's part of the problem. You have these smaller devs that could put out some innovative stuff, but because now you have the obsession with the quarterly projections or what the game is projected to do, that even if you make a good game, if it doesn't do as well as it's projected, well, you're kind of screwed. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
and the thing is, like you said, with AAA, I mean, outside of Nintendo, yeah, there hasn't been much in terms of AAA that has come across the board that's been hits.
Yeah.
But
Like look at this perfect example right there. Most popular games right now, GTA 5. 10 years old.
Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
That's horrendous, dude.
Yeah. Rainbow
20
Six.
years ago, in the PS2 era,
Elden Ring.
there was 3 GTA games that came out. 3 full GTA games, including San Andreas, probably the best one ever made.
Yeah. Well, what I want to talk about a little bit, if I could, here.
Go ahead.
This Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn. Once again, you're playing as a black lady in the 1650s or something like that, or 16,
that looked interesting.
1850s, or 1700s, which is weird. But you might be able to make your own character. But the trailer was that way, which is kind of weird. But of course, it has to be this way. This one is the one I thought was hilarious. And I literally laughed out loud. Ara, History Untold, is a Civ building game. Okay, fine. But let's watch the trailer, shall we? You guys want to watch the trailer? Let's watch the trailer. Tell me what you notice here. Oh, shut the
Oh,
volume off.
no.
Just to have a look here. Go ahead, watch it. Yeah, I'm going to have trailer time. Oh, okay. We're a turn-based strategy game for creators. Okay, all right. Good. Here we go. We're coming into and just pay attention to what you see, and then the last words they put on the trailer I thought were pretty interesting. All right,
Well, this is already nonsense. They had
here
cranes
we
building the
go. All right,
pyramids.
there's a lady that is now Imhotep as a woman. Okay. Yeah, there's a Queen Catherine maybe. Okay, Isabel, maybe. Okay. Oh, Ben. Yeah, Ben's not flying that kite. His woman is. Yeah, that's good. You get it, Ben. Oh, here's a couple of dudes. Those are real dudes. All right. There's a couple of men there. All right. Okay, fine. I do like the presentation. We're coming in here to some manner of princess, I am sure. So here we come. Oh, we're going through. We're seeing some building you could do. Oh, yeah, there's a woman training for battle. That's good. Okay,
Yeah,
and
that's what happens a
this
lot.
woman is teaching the man. She's educating him.
Looks like that's Galileo too,
Yeah, well, he's
or
being
Newton.
educated. You don't
Yeah.
don't you? Because here's the thing, Ara, History Untold. It's your world now. Did you see that?
Oh
Are they trying to
boy.
tell us something? Are they? Was that a message? Because I'm looking at that, it made me laugh out loud. No, I don't. I like Civ games. These kind of games I like best. Actually, you going through your Steam, I go
Me
through my
too.
Steam and bore the hell out of you. But
Yeah.
the thing
Not
with this
me.
is
That's what I usually play is those kind of games.
now in reality, you could probably play anything you want, do whatever you want. Of course, but the trailer is what they're pushing. And
Right.
you just saw that trailer, and what are they doing? It was other than the Asian man and the Arab man, it was all women doing stuff. And in the end, it says it's your world now, right?
Well,
It just
Yeah.
felt like a feminist statement to me. It just felt like that.
well, I
It
wouldn't
probably
be
is.
surprised if it is. But I
Yeah.
mean, but I'm gonna just be honest. That trailer was just fuck awful.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
It's
yeah, fair enough.
like what the hell was you supposed to get out of that? It was just like, oh look, we see historical motherfuckers doing shit.
Well,
Whoop de doo.
I do like those kind of things, but
I do too. Like I mean, I used to play Age of Empires when that was the new thing, and I do like some of the Civ games. But I'm saying, I understand maybe it's early in development, but there was nothing in that showed anything that should give me a reason to be interested in the further development in that
right.
game.
Well, but I'm just saying the agenda is right up there. They keep pushing it. Like this game right here, are you only playing this one character? It looks like it. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it.
But
It's
I
an
will say this,
original
but
IP. It's fine, which is no problem.
at least that looked interesting to me when I watched the trailer. It's like, okay, cool, and I know I know that some people will say, well, they'll make a big deal about her being a girl, but I'm like,
Well, it's a
I
fantasy,
think
dude.
they've
Who
kind of,
cares? Yeah.
yeah, it's a fantasy game. It's like I don't really care. I just want to care is Is she cool? Does she get to do cool shit?
Right.
And from some of the trailers, some of the stuff they showed in the trailer looks like she gets to do some cool things. Whatever that, I guess that little dragon she's got, whatever the fuck it's supposed to be, where they have these little team up moves.
Yeah, no,
I do like
I
the
I agree, Grimlock. And if we were a decade ago, none of us would blink at it. We'd be like, "Ooh, that looks
yeah
cool." But the
yeah that
problem is that they've made us jumpy.
yeah they've made us hypersensitive to stuff
Yeah.
like that. We've talked about that before, where they've kind of won in that regard. It's like 10 years ago, I would have just been like cool because it kind of. Did you play the game Recore by any chance?
Yes, it was a cute little game. Very cute.
Yeah, that was a good game, right?
Yeah.
Like you didn't think nothing of it that it was
Nope.
a female-led game.
Didn't
Nobody
care.
cared. It was good. It was just a good game.
Well,
Yeah.
I
And
mean, the perfect example of that is Metroid. Nobody gives a shit that Samus is a chick.
No.
oh
It's not
man,
nobody.
No.
That's
Dread
not a
was
problem for anybody.
But
Dread
they
was so fucking good.
it was,
I'm
dude.
Samus
whore.
It
pretty good.
was.
I am. Well, I'm whoring myself. I'm trying to get all the tanks and stuff before I go up against the final boss.
Right.
But I'm literally right there at the final battle.
Oh, that's cool.
But yes,
Uh,
that game has been so good.
but here's the thing. She has the lesbian haircut. Of course, these days, of course, it's a black girl, and I'm sure she's a lesbian, and they will reference it in the game. I guarantee you.
Well, yeah. See,
It
that's the part that kind of irritates me the most. Is like if this is supposed to be like in the 1600s or whatever. Like, what's with the? Why does they always have to have the same hair? It's like girls have different hairstyles.
Yeah,
Fuck Thundero.
and it's certainly not though. It's a fantasy game, so I mean, it doesn't matter because it looks cool. I agree. Just like that Plague
Yeah,
game looks cool, and I'll probably want to try them out. But I'm just saying that because of all their nonsense and all their pushing, they've really kind of alienated us.
yeah,
Yeah, and they're fine with that. Just ask them; they'll tell you.
yeah.
How
But
many times do we see
but
these? How many times do we see these comic book people and these movie stars and these producers and these game devs say that they don't really care if white men don't like their stuff? Which obviously,
yeah,
that's not fully what we're talking about. But they're talking about us. That's who they're
Yeah,
talking.
no, they are. I know.
They don't
yeah.
care.
Well,
I know.
They
yeah.
don't care.
Well, see, and I actually agree. Elrod, you are correct. They have forced us to be reactionary to this when that used to not matter.
Yeah.
Video game criteria was very
Is it
simple for
good?
most people. Was it cool? Was the main characters cool? Can I do cool shit? Is it good?
Yep.
Hold
That
on, this is
that's
Yeah.
what you cared about. That's
displaying for me for some reason.
I will play literally any type of game. I don't care who it's aimed at. I don't care what it is. I don't care at all as long as it's good. If it's good, I'll play it. Like there's some people, they only play they only play this game, and they only play this type of game. So a lot of people with shooters like that or
Yeah.
sports games.
I'll be
I'm
back
not
in a
like
minute.
that. I'll play it. I'll play just about anything as long as it meets number one criteria. Number one, is it good? And by good, I mean, does it not insult my intelligence? And is it fun to play? That's it.
Yeah.
And fun to play is very subjective, obviously. But I think we can all kind of agree that if a game's a glitchy piece of shit, it's probably not fun to play. If it's not responsive, it's probably not fun to play. Like the problem I have with that game we were just looking at, I don't really care about the black protagonist or any of that. Whatever, who cares? The little fox spirit thing's kind of neat. I like the
Yeah.
axe/gun combat, but it looks clunky. Doesn't look smooth, and that bothers me. That's what bothers me. If you're going to do a third-person action game, sweet. I love third-person action games. That combat's got to flow. If you're going to have it be
There's
focused on combat, there's got to be a smoothness, a rhythm to it, a pace. It has to not be fast-paced, but it has to be explosive. You know what I'm saying?
well,
Like when
yeah.
it's time for shit to go down, it's got to go down. It can't be slow and plodding, in my opinion. For me,
Well, there was one thing, and I'm sure Chester noticed it too. Watching this earlier today, like you were saying, there was too many games, and I don't know how far they're into the development process or whatever.
Yeah.
That just looked slow and clunky. They're like,
Yeah.
that was like I was saying earlier about Starfield. that shit just looked slow. Like there was nothing. There wasn't that oh wow holy shit moment where
Right.
you see a video in a video game. Most of these trailers was just okay. Here's something like that
Right.
Aura trailer. There was nothing in it. It's just showing people doing shit like that meant nothing. Even
Well,
for
like a perfect
RTS, I want to
example.
see something.
Yes, I agree with you. I also, if you're going to have a game that's supposed to be at least somewhat historical, I don't want to see cranes building the pyramids. I don't know what the fuck that was. But anyway, uh, regardless of that, a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I love the Uncharted series of games. It's probably my favorite game series as a whole, from beginning to end. I love the story of Nathan Drake. They did a fantastic job. I think, and I think pretty much everybody agrees, the first game kind of sucks. The gameplay isn't that great. It's not terrible, but it's just not. It's very clunky. It doesn't always work right. The second game is much better in that regard. It plays better. It's smoother. The shooting mechanics feel better. When you have a third-person action game, especially every game to some degree, but especially a third-person action game, because you have to control the camera and you have to constantly be engaged. Because you have to control the camera, and two, it's just a freaking video game. When it's time to do things like combat, it has to feel smooth. And that game, what's the name of that game? Flintlock. It just
Yeah.
didn't look smooth. It looked plodding. The animation seemed slow and unrefined, and maybe they'll fix that later.
Mhm.
But why would you show it in a trailer? Like, why would unless that's what they want? If that's what they're going for, cool. It's not for me. If you're gonna give me a third-person action game, when it's time for the pace to pick up, it needs to pick up, and that time is almost always in combat. Combat needs to have a flow to it that's quick. That Jim Ross, good old JR.
Yeah.
He has a saying that he uses all the time. He's so quick, he's sudden. That's what the combat needs to feel like. It needs to be smooth and sudden. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, stuff happening real fast. And if it's not doing that, then I'm just in third-person action games specifically, I'm just typically not interested. It's kind of why Skyrim's combat in third person, especially, nobody likes it. Right? Like,
Right.
it's just not. It's not dynamic. It's
Right.
not. It doesn't get your attention.
Well-
It's boring. It's slow. It's
Well, Devilish, speaking of glitchy pieces of shit, Xbox page here won't even is loading slow as hell. I don't know what it is, and I got a quick, super fast internet connection. But whatever. I'm gonna move on from it. But
Well, I put it like this, Chester. The game I was most excited to see, I posted in the general chat. That's what I was excited to see,
well, let
and
me
it's
see
by
what
the
it
and
is.
it was by the smallest developer.
Let's see.
that's
here.
good though. That's
Yeah,
healthy
indie
for the
stuff
industry.
the indie stuff is there's some really good stuff. That's true. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah, it's not my type of thing, but I get why people like it.
Yeah.
That type of thing. But anyway,
Oh,
I'm gonna move on.
I have sunk over 70 hours into the first one. So
Oh, have you? Oh, okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I haven't really
it's good.
played. Go ahead.
If Metroidvanias are not your thing, you probably will not dig it. But
Side scrollers,
to
things like
those,
that. Yeah, I used to play 'em
yeah,
when I was younger. I just don't do it anymore. And that's fine. But that's the great thing about video games. There's so many choices. There's so many things to get, and really what I'm talking about here today is the AAA stuff just is not interesting me.
Yeah.
Interestinging me. Yeah. But
Interesting.
yeah, it's interesting. But there's a ton of indie stuff that is interesting to me, actually. So rock on, dude. So let's move on here.
Star Wars rumor. Reva headlines second series after Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obviously.
Obviously, like literally everybody called that from episode 1.
Sure.
Everybody
Well,
said that, no, the whole point of this is to prop her up so that she can either take over or have her own show. And that's exactly what they're doing.
to destroy the legacy of Obi-Wan Kenobi and then make
Yep.
her the new Darth Vader because Darth Vader is problematic because it's an old black man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, old white man with a black man's voice. Yeah.
Yeah. The most epic old black man voice ever.
That's true. It's pretty good.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, of course that's what they're doing. Obviously, it's what they're doing. And at least you could have picked one that was at least had a face that would keep my attention, other than forcing me to look away. I mean, God, she's god awful ugly. But whatever.
Yeah, Disney's been going out of their way to make women ugly. She's not that bad looking.
Yeah,
She's
she
not a good
is. Oh
actress,
yeah,
but she
she's
ain't that
ugly.
bad looking.
She's ugly. Yeah,
I don't know.
she's
I'm,
got.
not, I'm look.
She's ugly.
I'm not saying I would take her over Halle Berry or nothing, but I'm saying
Well, of course you
there's
wouldn't.
uglier
Of
women
course you
you can
wouldn't,
get.
because Halle Berry is highly fuckable. This right here is chubby young Will Smith, and I'm not fucking
Yeah.
chubby young Will Smith. I ain't doing it.
Savage, the
Chester's
savagery.
fired up. Chester, what happened? You walked away and you came back fired up. What
Well, I
happened?
took a piss, so I'm better now.
We done found his button.
Oh shit.
Apparently, he's not into Sisters from Baltimore. That's what it is. That's his button.
No, I am not. That is true. But she's just so ugly, dude. Look at her. But that doesn't matter. She doesn't. She's supposed to be a bad guy. She doesn't have to be attractive. But you want a person who's just visual standing there has a presence. Whether they're supposed to be attractive, bad, evil, heroic, whatever the character is supposed to be, you want them to be able to have a presence that pulls it off. So it isn't necessarily attractive as it is camera friendly.
Yeah.
And
Camera has to love you.
she is not that. I mean, look at this woman, dude, hanging from a wire. Dog butt ugly. She's got the lanky old legs. She's got weird puffs in places that shouldn't be there. This is just an unattractive human, dude. And what are you doing,
Photogenic.
Darth?
That's the
What are you
word you're
doing,
looking for.
Darth? Deal with that. Deal with it.
Yeah, it's tragic what they're doing. And everybody knew it was going to happen. I hope everybody did anyway. I mean, we said this was what they were going to do. They were going to shit all over Obi-Wan. I mean, I watched just a couple clips. I haven't watched the whole episodes, but I watched a couple clips, and I watched Obi-Wan Kenobi, a man who was a tactical genius, a general, a war hero, a brilliant Jedi master. Genuinely,
let you look on that for a little.
Make so many just basic tactical mistakes that don't make any sense for a man of his stature to be making. And I said, well, this is intentional. There's no way. Of
course it is.
Like a simple thing.
It's clear.
He knows stormtroopers are looking for him and Leia, and he says Leia's name right in front of him. What the? Get out of here! Get out of here! Get out! It's stupid. Obi-Wan's not that damn dumb.
Well, it's like what they've been doing with Doctor Strange recently. He would never make those mistakes. And in the original instances that you were dealing with Doctor Strange in the MCU, he didn't. They changed him. He went from very clever and tactical into stupid and idiotic, because they needed him to be that way so that the lady could look better. You see. Instead of just
because they don't know how to write.
Yeah,
exactly. They don't know how to write characters. They don't know how to write a character to actually overcome a strong character.
Yeah,
it's obvious. Like, regardless of agendas, they don't know how to do that. They just don't.
Yeah.
And it's obvious, because every time they have a character who starts out strong, especially if they're male, when they need to elevate somebody else, as in wrestling terms, when they're trying to push somebody else, the only way they can think to do that is to tear the other one down. Some way, somehow, they have to make the other one lesser to make this one greater.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. You don't have to do that. You can just make the other one greater. That's okay, without making them lesser.
And in the end, when she gets her own show, she's going to be the good guy. She is the good one, right? Because the villain's always good now. And I guarantee you, if they haven't done it already, there will be a scene where she's getting out of bed with some really sexy lady Twi'leks. I guarantee it.
Probably, yeah.
I guarantee it.
Or she overpowers Vader, something like that.
Oh, of course.
That'll happen.
Obviously. It has to happen because she's better. Yeah.
Which is nonsense.
But okay, there you go. Another example of a named character, literally it's called Obi-Wan Kenobi, not being the main part of their show. Well, okay, great. Moving on. We talk about that. This getting
this
a lot
thing
of attention.
Movie review platform Letterboxd hides all reviews for Matt Walsh documentary What is a Woman?
Of course they are. And I'm sure Google's throttling it, and YouTube's throttling it, and of course that is Google. But I'm sure they across the board can't have this. And I
Yeah.
haven't seen. I've only seen excerpts from it. But all he's done was sit down. He did something like the libs of TikTok. He sit down and let them dig their own grave.
Yeah.
That's
Just
all he
asking
really did.
questions.
He let them show you is what he did.
That's right.
And the clips I've seen, these people are just literal maniacs. They're out of their head. They're illogical. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's just ridiculous. And he shined a light on that, and that they don't like that. You see. So of course they are throttling his attention as much as they can. Although
Yeah.
I did see this on Netflix, though.
I did see. Interesting. They have it on Netflix in Japan.
Yeah.
I did see one of the clips from this where he was talking to some professor, I believe, and he said something to the effect of the truth. Matt Walsh did.
Sure.
He just wants to get to the truth or something like that. And the guy literally said to him that was some form of problematic. I don't remember the exact word he used, but that's what he was saying. The truth, the idea, the concept of the truth bothered him.
Of course.
And he just asked him, like, why does that upset you so much? He's like, I don't like this conversation. What? Like,
Well, yeah.
what is that?
Well, but
What is that?
Kind of like one of the so-called faux pas of Biden. And I don't think it was a faux pas. When he was on the campaign trail, he said,
Yep.
we want this, we want that, we want the facts, not the truth. And people played
Yes.
it as if it was a faux pas. I don't think it was.
No, I don't.
I think he said exactly what he was supposed to say. Because they don't want the truth. They want and some of the other people that he talked to, these these oh shit, I can't remember what these guys are called. These are the lion hunters. What do they call these guys? It starts with an M. God damn it, the African lion hunters.
I can't remember either. Top of my head. It might say in there. What's it say?
Yeah, I don't see it. But damn it.
Anyway, those lion hunters.
Starts with an M. But whatever. He asked them with the translator here, very directly, and they were the boss, the chief's answer was no. Yeah, no.
Just no.
No.
Just no.
Yeah. No anger, no frustration, just no. Right?
Just calm. No.
I
No.
I do love the Scottish influence upon them, right? That is pretty cool.
That is nice, yeah. It's very, very pretty. Very pretty outfits they're wearing there. No, this whole thing is my biggest problem. My biggest problem with these lefties, and that's what these people are, is they are allergic to the concept of truth. And they don't like to be questioned at all. So the one I'm talking about was a professor. And it was very clear that this guy is completely against anyone ever questioning his authority. Ever. So that's how he's teaching his students, of course, right? He's berating them, and he refuses to even have conversations with fully grown adult students. He's a college professor. This sort of totalitarian, authoritarian thinking that these people have is the real problem. I don't really care if they want to believe in all this other nonsense. I don't give a shit. Believe what you want. That's their business. I do care when they try and make other people believe it. When they demand everybody believes it, or there's some form of bad person. No.
Yeah.
The answer is no, and I won't. Just like that guy said, no. The answer is no. I'm not going to yell and scream at you. The answer is simply no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you a lie. I am not going to piss down your back and tell you it's raining. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let you do it to me either. The answer is simply no.
Yeah. Thank you, Alan. It is the Masai. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I love this guy's answer. It was so perfect, right? Because well, these dudes are men for sure. But you know what?
Yeah.
The females in their tribe are women.
What a shocker.
Well, no, I mean they're in the because a lot of the the females we see these days are girls. They're not adult in their
Right.
thinking. They're not mature. They're not responsible. A, a woman, excuse me, a woman is a beautiful thing to behold, right? But that's not what they are, right? But I guarantee you, in this tribe right here, those are women that handle
Yeah.
their shit, right? I
Yes.
guarantee it.
I
But
agree with you.
some of these interviews he had, like I said, I just saw clips and stuff. But he's not going to show me anymore. This one right here, this MD, this pediatrician, was so stupid. And he was nice. He was just letting her dig her own grave because I would have tore her apart, right? Because
Right.
she thinks she's her and her green hair. She thinks she's very, very smart. And I listened to that particular interview. I would eat her alive, dude. I'd have her
Yeah.
crying, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Midwits.
yeah, they're nitwits, exactly. But
Yeah.
this person has a PhD in pediatrician. Dude, back up.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah.
That's
That's a problem.
not good. That's not a problem.
That's a
But
problem.
whatever.
Chester, you
They
said you would eat her alive. What sauce would you use to eat her with?
Thai peanut sauce, the only one you use ever, or sriracha.
This
That's
guy.
real good too.
I was gonna say no
Hey,
A1.
speaking of sriracha, is there a sriracha shortage over there, Chester, in
No,
Japan?
no, we don't have any
Because they
shortages
keep saying
whatsoever.
we're going to have one here, that there's a big sriracha shortage.
Yep.
And I'm like, why? Is it only in America that these things keep happening? That's very interesting that it keeps happening here.
Yeah,
I find
no,
that
it is
fascinating.
because we're not
You
having any
better
of the
not fuck with
troubles
my
you're having.
sriracha.
Yeah, well, I have the best sriracha in the world because I'm in Asia. But
Right.
here's the thing. You guys are having a hard time getting everything, including like say graphics cards for your computers for some reason.
Yeah.
And after the conversation we had a week or three ago with Ben, because I always take Ben's advice on computers, and I would
Yeah.
advise everyone to do exactly the same because the dude knows
Yeah.
his shit. He doesn't talk about it
Yeah.
a lot here, but trust me, the man knows what he's talking about when it comes to computers and software.
Well, he
Nevertheless,
better with the job
well,
he had.
it
I
is
won't
true.
out his job, but he better have
Yeah, no,
with his
he's
profession.
legit. He's legit.
Yeah.
And therefore, I take his suggestions very serious. And he suggested that I upgrade my graphics card sooner than later, even though I have a good one. So I've been looking around, and they have all the 3000 series stuff. I can buy whatever I want, and Nvidia is still the king of the hill. So I'll probably stick with Nvidia. But
Yeah.
I held off because not only do we have coming here very, very soon, within the next 6 months, sometime this year, Nvidia is going to drop its 400 series
Yep.
or 4000 series. Sorry. It sounds like they're also going to drop a 5000 series.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
Double whammy in it, huh?
yeah, I'm going for it, dude. Yeah, it's probably going to cost me $2,000, but I'm doing it. I'm biting that bullet,
It's good.
and I'm
You
not
should.
going to tell the wife until later. Later.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well,
Chester's
baby,
gonna
it's
get in
for the
trouble.
computer. I had no choice.
Does your wife? I bet your wife, even when she's mad at you, she's still sweet.
She is super sweet, and I'm
Yeah.
exaggerating as I do, but
Yeah.
she's very nice, and I can do whatever I want to do basically, but I don't
Right.
because it's disrespectful,
True.
right? And why would
That's
I
right.
disrespect the woman I love? I mean, honestly.
That's true.
Um,
Intentionally, anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she would let me get away with it, but I never do it because one, it's not right, and two, I mean, when it comes to financial things, I'm really good at many things, but she's better at the economics than I am. She just simply is, and
It's
therefore,
simple.
it just is. She's just
Right.
better at it. Her whole focus is that. And so letting her handle the finances is the right move for me, right? Maybe not you, but for me it is. And
Yeah.
if she says that, well, let's wait until this point or that or this, I don't question it at all. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I
No,
goof
right.
around a lot, and I kind of do the, I goof. But no, she never gets mad. I never get mad. We never have arguments. It's one of the things that I hear a lot of people saying, marriage is hard, and it's like, is it?
Um, it depends. It depends on the maturity level of the people that are in it, of course, as it does with everything. And it also just depends on personalities. Like some people have very easy to get along with personalities. I think your wife is a saint. The very few times I've heard her in the background, and the one time I talked to her, she came. I'm very, very, very good, Chester. You know this at just judging people off of one interaction. I can pick somebody. I just know. I just for whatever reason I know if somebody's a piece of shit or not.
Hmm.
And your wife seems like an actual saint of a woman.
Oh, she's
Genuinely.
she's
I would be I'd
super
be
sweet.
very surprised if she was like a nagging wife and it was
Oh
all a
no,
show. It
no,
would
no,
it would
no,
blow me away because I just
no,
don't believe it. I wouldn't believe it. It's kind of like going back to the Johnny Depp thing. I believe Johnny Depp's an asshole. I don't believe he would lay his hands on
no.
his woman.
He's gentle.
I don't buy that.
We know
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But no,
Yeah.
no, no. She's super sweet. I'm just goofing off and exaggerating as I do, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we all exaggerate and stuff, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, straight up lying is unnecessary. But of
Yeah.
course, I'm just
Yes.
goofing off and just making a joke. But no, she's super. I'll give an example of my wife, and I'm very very happy and fortunate to be with her. But I was at an event. It was a outdoor event, and my band was one of. I know it was an all day thing. There must have been a dozen bands or something like that. And my band was going to be up in an hour or so. And at that time, Ben was there. I think was there as well. But at that time, there were a lot of foreigners in the area. There's not now. But they all came out to see my show, right?
Hmm.
The park was full. There was thousands of people up in the park, and it's just like a summer fest, right? And
Sure.
but my band wasn't going to be on for a little while, so I was over there hanging and talking with everybody. And there's another older lady. She's a little bit older than me. She actually married a Japanese man. Interesting. And we saw her coming in, and she tripped over. She was stepping over like a rope fencing, and she tripped and fell down, and then she kind of hobbled her way over to us. And she had skinned her knee. No big deal, nothing broken, just skinned her knee. But of course, all the ladies were crowding around her, like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? You okay?" Which is fine. I mean, that's what they do. But what did my wife do? She immediately left the area, went over to the little public restroom, wet a bunch of towels and stuff, and came back and cleaned her up. No one else moved. They're all like, "Are you okay?" Their sentiment was there, but no one moved.
Hmm.
She instantly
Yes.
reacted. Right?
You know what that is, Chester?
It's a good
That is a
woman.
perfect little story. Well, it's a perfect little story to encapsulate the difference between empathy and sympathy. So your wife was sympathetic
Yeah,
to the plight of that
she's
woman,
very
so she
sympathetic.
acted. The other people were just empathic. They were empathetic to it. They were like, "Oh man, that sucks. Oh, that hurts. That's gotta." This is why I say that empathy is the most useless human emotion. It literally does nothing except make you either feel good or bad based on the feelings of another person. It's performative mostly, especially like in that regard, like at checking. Oh, are you okay? Mostly that's performance, right? But your wife didn't do that. Her sympathy, her sympathetic nature, told her, and her mothering nature, I'm sure, told her, "Oh, we just got to go help this person.
Solve
Just
it,
that's
fix the
it.
situation,
Yeah,
and that's how
go
she
fix it."
is. Now, me personally,
Yeah.
Grimlock, I was like, "Suck it up, Buttercup." That's me. But therefore, we make a perfect couple, right? Because
Yeah.
I saw I not harden her, but I do keep her from being gullible, right?
Right.
And she
Yeah.
softens me, which is necessary because I'm very rough around the edges, right?
Sure.
Uh, give an example. She likes watching suffering porn. I don't know why, but she was watching this movie. She saw the short the other day, and then they made a full movie, which was fairly different, but it had one of the same actors in it. It's called Skin. And what it's about is based on a true story. It's about this guy who used to be part of some skinhead white supremacist white power group, and he decided and he tried to get out of it, and he helped the FBI, and a bunch of people got arrested, et cetera, et cetera. All right, fine. And she's watching this thing, and as she's watching it, you know, for me, it's like, yeah, well, whatever. I'm not very interested. But there came a scene where he was trying to get away. Spoilers. And he had moved his family to his new family to a completely different place. But his old family, this you know the skinhead neo-Nazi guys, found him
Mhm.
and showed up in the house. He came back from work. He's just a laborer. He came back from work, and the house they're full of the house is full of these skinheads that have come to check him out. Hey, you trying to dodge us? Hey, what's going on? You know, and he immediately kind of kowtowed and put his head down and really wouldn't do anything. And it's part of the story. But my wife said that, oh wow, you would do very different thing. And of course that's true because I grab them by their fucking heads and throw them out my goddamn house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
instantly. What the fuck are you doing here? Get out my house before I get angry, right?
Yeah.
How dare you walk in where my wife and children are? That's war,
Yeah.
dude. That's fucking war, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, but the thing is, she knows me so well that she and my kids too. They try to keep me from certain situations. You see, they do. They
Oh, that's
actively
funny.
work toward it.
And they're like, that's crazy. Like, don't let them do this.
Yeah, don't put it.
Let
He
them do
might
this.
murder someone. But it was funny. But anyway, moving on. I guess I'll probably maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I want to. I won't. Be honest, I'm not that interested in this kind of thing. But it's just he's doing the same thing Libs or TikTok are doing. He's letting them dig their own grave, and good for him.
Well, the other thing that's weird to me is how anti-question they are,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So like he should. And well, the clips I saw, all he's doing is asking them questions, but they respond to this question as if it's a threat, as if
Mhm.
he's trying to do it's some kind of big game or big trick, and
Well, it
maybe
is a threat.
partially it is disingenuous. Well, yeah, exactly. It's a threat to them because the truth is a threat to them, but that's how they behave towards it. And it's very telling when you try to have a conversation with these people. And every time you make any kind of assertion or you ask a question, they respond emotionally as if you just kicked them in the shin. Right? They almost flinch at it. Right? Linguistically, they'll flinch at it. And all they're doing is telling on themselves. What they're telling you is this isn't an honest person. They're not going to be honest with you. Every question they ask you, every time they make a statement towards you, it's going to be loaded. It's designed to be a weapon against you. You're not having an actual conversation with an actual person here. This is an activist or a person who's been trained in what is basically combative linguistics, manipulative linguistics. That's why they do that stuff. And watching those interviews he's doing is just a perfect encapsulation of that. If you remember Jordan Peterson, a few years ago, one of his interviews that blew up was with that blonde girl in the BBC, and she kept saying, "So what you're saying is, so what you're saying." So she kept trying to rephrase his very plain statements
Well,
into something nefarious,
he ate her up, dude.
and he ate her alive.
Yeah.
Ate her alive because he kept his cool, and he just kind of he actually
Well, he's
mocked
just
her a little bit. He
smarter
kind of
than her.
chuckled at her.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously, like way smarter than her. And he just just kept putting her back in line as best as he could, as softly as he could.
Well,
And these sorts of people, the reason why they're so dangerous, and the reason why we need to keep them out of positions of power, and they're all over positions of power in America, is because you can never get actual honesty from them. If they screw up, if their policy fails, they're just going to double and triple down on it, or they're going to say, you're the reason it failed. You're wrong for disliking it.
They're like Islamists. They are allowed to lie to you for their agenda.
That's right, Takia. That's right.
It's just very simple. And that lady you're talking about, at least she had the sense to apologize for her failure, right?
Yes.
There's a better interview with a dumpy brunette, which he absolutely tears her apart, but she never is aware of it. She's completely oblivious because she's smarter than him in her own mind, even though clearly she's not. Right. And to be fair, I mean, Jordan Peterson is literally one of the, if not the premier psychologist on Earth. On Earth.
He's pretty good.
I mean, he went on this little tear here to kind of help men and kind of push back against this agenda stuff, the message. But let's not forget what he actually is. A often referenced, highly respected worldwide psychologist. So
Yeah,
you're dealing with an elite individual as far as intellect goes. There's very few humans who are smarter than him, particularly in his field. He's well
that's right.
educated, well researched. He's legit, right? So when you're going up against these kind of people, you have to be overly prepared, and they never are. It's like, if you're
Right.
going to get into a debate with for little Ben Shapiro, dude, come loaded.
Yeah, you better be ready.
That boy
Yeah,
will absolutely humiliate you, right?
yeah,
And Sam Harris, there's some other people who are on the intellectual high ground because they
right.
put the work
Well,
in, though they're highly intelligent and they put the work in.
yes. Sam unfortunately got caught a bad case of TDS, and oof, it's rough listening to some of his stuff now. But I used to listen to him fairly regularly, even though I disagreed with him, because I could understand that he was intelligent.
Yeah,
Right? He
yeah.
was making lucid points, even if I disagreed with them. But I get your point, right? There's a lot of people out there who are in that kind of sphere who are really, 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 really good at interpersonal dialogue. Like Jordan Peterson, he's a psychologist. He was a practicing psychologist. He had to actually talk to people. He had to actually have
Mhm.
conversations with people and try and get to the root of what causing their anxieties, which is usually all it is. Um, and he had to be able to do that from an expert position because he is an expert. He's a
Yeah.
professor, world-renowned professor and things. And that's why it's really hard. See, what these people do is they manipulate. They're manipulators. They're using manipulative, emotionalized language to try and control narratives and really to try and control people. That's the goal.
Mhm.
A
But I
guy
mean,
like Jordan Peterson
yeah,
is very hard to control because he knows what they're doing. He
right.
knows what you're trying to do because he's studied this stuff. He knows how all that
He
works,
does.
how the psychology works.
But I'm just saying that show respect where respect is due, and prepare yourself for the conversation. Is all I'm saying. Like, yeah,
Yep.
out of the people we named there, I would feel comfortable if I was on the spot, being in a conversation with Sam Harris. He and I could have a good debate because I'm
Yeah.
well versed in his stuff that he does. Professor Peterson, no,
Yeah. Not in his field.
I'm not. It's not my field, and I would have to really take the time to prepare, and I would, because I want to show respect to the dude,
Right.
right? And I think that's one of the things we're talking about here is respect or lack thereof, because a lot of these people think they're very smart, and it isn't even about being smart. I've given the example of my children before. I don't talk about my family in much detail because why should I, right?
Yeah.
But my kids are a good example. My son is just smart. He just is. And that's why, but he's a bit lazy because everybody wants to do things for him all the time, especially the girls, right?
Hmm.
And this makes him lazy. And I get on his ass about that. And of course, in the end, he's graduated with a master's in engineering. He's already got a job, so he did work it out. But he's just raw capability, right?
Hmm.
My daughter is fairly average intelligence. Now, to be fair, an average intelligence in Japan is higher than most places in the world. However,
Oh yeah.
she's average. She's not brilliant in any way, nor is she dumb. However, that girl's, her studiousness is off the charts, and
Yeah.
therefore she literally is a pharmaceutical chemist, right?
Right.
So, and it's because she worked really, really hard. So it isn't just about raw intelligence. It's not,
Right.
or not even raw, just raw smarts. It's not. It's about the hard work
Raw
too,
talent.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you are
Well, that's the
talented at
difference
something, if you don't
between
work, I mean,
exactly. That's the difference between talent and skill. A lot of people are, just musically talented. They're very good at instruments for whatever reason. They can pick them up
yeah,
quickly.
that's me.
And other people
That's my
can't.
talent.
But they can
Yeah.
still. Most people, some people just won't. But most people, if they work hard enough, they can become competent at just about anything.
Yeah.
But you have to want to do that, of course, too. You have to have the
You got to
desire to
put the
do it,
work in.
especially if it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think that's a great encapsulation of the difference between somebody who is honest with themselves and somebody who has really both are being honest with themselves, but somebody who has great potential and somebody who has the potential to be great. Meaning, if you have that personality where you're hardworking, you automatically have the potential for greatness. Even if you're not the smartest person, even if you're not the most capable at whatever,
Mhm.
if you're hard enough working, you can overcome a lot of your shortcomings. You won't
Oh, yeah.
overcome all of them, but you can overcome a lot of them.
Yeah. No,
The
that's
number
very
there's two things when it comes to success. There's intelligence, is obviously very important, but more important is conscientiousness, and conscientiousness basically just means hard working. If
It
you're
does.
a hard worker, you can at least, you won't, not guaranteed, but you have the potential to overcome your low intellect.
And
My mother is a great example. She didn't have a high IQ. She wasn't very smart, but she was a hard ass worker, and she made damn good money because of it.
yeah, and if you are a hard worker and you're conscientious and push at it, you will be successful. You will be. There is no
Yeah,
maybe. You will be. Now, you might
that's
not
right.
be, hit it rich and become a multi-billionaire, but I mean, you will be successful. And me personally, we're talking about that. I got the wrong talent in life because mine is music. It is, and everyone's got a talent.
Mhm.
Everyone here's got something they're good at. And I literally, you can give me any instrument in the world, and I'll be playing it within minutes. Right?
Yeah,
Now that's because I've played so many other instruments before, I'm sure. But the thing is, I've only mastered two, right? Because I'm not
right.
really interested in it. It's not my it's not my drive, right? So
Right.
sometimes you get a talent that isn't really what you want, and I don't know. I would probably, if I was standing on the other side of me, Grimlock, I'd probably chastise myself because I do believe I tell the kids all the time, as the older kids, that you should find what it is you're good at, your talent, and you should really you should really focus on that and push that. That's what I tell the kids, but I certainly didn't do
Right.
that, you know. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's move on here to another subject. Grimlock, sir, this one's definitely your topic.
Oh Lord, no, no. Why me? What's it?
I'm waiting.
He's
Fans
opening it.
condemn Diablo Immortal's aggressive microtransactions after the discovery that full item upgrades cost upwards of $50,000.
It's actually more like a hundred
Jesus
thousand.
Christ!
It's closer to a hundred
Yeah.
thousand, actually.
Yeah.
Now I played this
Do you
game
know how
day
many
one.
awesome things you could buy for $50,000?
Oh yeah,
That's not a fucking mobile game,
oh
kids.
yeah, yeah. Books.
Go
I
out and
could
buy
buy
you a
lots of
Corvette. You'll
books.
have way more fun.
Oh yeah, dude, Corvette. That's nice. But I play this game day one. It's not a bad little game. But it's one of those games where you have to, if you want to be competitive in any way, you have to spend money. Now, I'm an older dude, and I come from that the school of hard grinding, and that's what all games were back in the day. It's hard grind,
Right.
and I'm used to it. It doesn't bother me. So I play these games like Black Desert or you name it, right? I play these games that people spend thousands of dollars in. I never spent a penny because I have no trouble with the grind, nor do I care for PvP. I have no interest to have, I have no desire to have the best top PvP gear. That does not matter to me. So these things don't matter, are not important to me. However, this game is overly so. I played it for a couple of hours and immediately I could tell that unless you put money in this game, you're not even going to be able to play the game itself, let alone the PvP stuff.
Right.
So this is an extreme case, and it's inappropriate. Black Desert is a very good counterpoint to this, I think. This is a mobile game, but still, Black Desert, you can spend ridiculous amounts of money getting gear and leveling yourself. They've gotten better, but they had a period they were really bad. And you can go if you don't have any patience. But someone like me, I played Black Desert, a couple years ago. I probably won't get back into it because of they've region locked everything hardcore. But that's a separate conversation about what's going on in Korea right now. But but um, I never spent a penny on it because I don't need
Not
it,
one dime.
not one dime. So it just depends on you. I think this is a problem for the younger people because they don't have
Yeah.
that patience, that grinding patience that we older
Well,
dudes have.
they've been conditioned to this stuff too. It's not good. Like I said, like I'm telling you, man, these big gaming companies, they've become nothing but vehicles of pure greed,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's not good. That's not good for an artistic medium like video games, and it is an artistic medium. It's just not good. We've seen what happens when all that matters is the almighty dollar in these sorts of these media companies. You get nonsense like the Transformers movies. That's what happens when that happens. You get trash like these Call of Duty games, which are trash. They're trash. They're trash games, and they are literally designed like McDonald's food to be as addictive as possible and to offer no actual sense of satisfaction.
Yeah,
none.
that dopamine hit. They constantly try to
Just
keep
dopamine hits. Yeah.
Well, devilish boredom's 50,000 shall be spent upon hookers and blow. So, just so you know.
Well, I mean, it's better than blowing it on Diablo Immortal.
I don't know about that actually, but yeah, this game is
Chester. I played a lot of video games, and a good blowjob is better than any video game I've ever played. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Cocaine, technically. But no, this game is an extreme example. Not only is it expensive, it forces you, even in standard gameplay, to want to spend money. So it's getting a lot of shit, and it deserves it.
Yeah.
Well, a big part of that is the way they do reward systems and the end game shit nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Is where people want to get to those higher end rewards and the end game stuff, and I see that's why these kids are jumping into the microtransactions, because, like you said, they don't have the patience to do the grind, but also in doing the grind, like the daily rewards or whatever is such shit. It's like, well, it's not worth it.
Yeah. And besides, why are you doing this with a mobile game anyway? I don't understand how people spend so much money on mobile games. I don't get it.
And they've been conditioned that it's normal, right? So, like, a lot of people's defenses for this game is, well, it was a mobile game, so it's fine. What?
No,
it's not fine. It's not fine at all. What are you talking about?
No, I mean, a console or a PC game, if you're going to spend a little money on it, I guess you could probably argue to me why you did that. But a freaking little phone in your hand, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, no, I don't like this. Honestly, there needs to be regulation about it. I hate that, but it's the truth. They're just going to keep doing it because it makes money, because there's a sucker born every minute, and there's people who will pay for it.
Just don't play it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I honestly think this needs to be handled. They shouldn't be able to do this. I don't like when it's clearly predatory. I mean, you even played it. It's designed to get money out of you.
Oh, it is.
Point blank, period.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be allowed.
But
that just simply shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, but you know what I did, Thundero? I deleted it.
Yeah. The problem is there's a lot of people who won't, and they'll end up burying themselves or doing, or the kid will get this has happened with Fortnite. A kid will get a hold of their parents' credit card and just rack up insane charges. Mm-hmm. And
that's the parents'
that sort
fault.
of stuff. I agree, but it's also the fact that it's even allowed at all. It shouldn't be. I don't like any of this microtransaction. If they want to charge more for games, then do it. Stop it. This shit is wrong. It's just as wrong as like usury. You got these payday loans places. Those are worse. But this is very similar. One of the few times I think the EU and some of those countries over there have gotten it right, I think it's Denmark. They ban this stuff outright. You just can't do it. I think that's the correct approach. I don't like that because I'd much rather let the market sort it out. But I do think there is a place for some protection of the consumer. And when it's something that is designed to literally be as addictive as heroin, I'm not making that up, it's a problem. It's a problem, and it needs to be addressed.
I get your point, but I mean, like, my wife was watching this show on Netflix, I think, or Amazon or something like that. And it was about Philadelphia and the heroin epidemic, right? Now, obviously, you shouldn't have these people on the streets. Police should do their jobs, make these neighborhoods clean and safe so their families and kids can enjoy them, right? Okay, fine. And that's as far as I go, because if you're going to destroy your life and melt yourself on the street as a homeless person with heroin, not only do I not have sympathy for you, I don't even have compassion for you. I just don't.
I agree.
Right? I mean, you did
but
that
two
to
things,
yourself.
two problems
I
can be
don't have to
tackled
feel
at once.
bad for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any time for addicts. I think they're scum and they get what they deserve. But two problems can be solved at once. Now, I agree with you when it comes to drugs. Heroin was the wrong analogy for me to make, because I say end the drug war and just let it sort itself out. But this is a different beast, because it's so much more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's so much more invasive than a drug addict or a drug dealer is. Right? A drug dealer is not in your pocket. A drug dealer is hopefully not right in your little kid's face all the time, constantly, easily, readily available. A lot of these games you can set up where, and if the parents aren't paying attention, which is partially their fault, they should pay attention. You can set up to where you charge it to your phone bill, right? So you can just go into a game and just start buying stuff, and it'll charge it to charge it right to your phone bill. Stuff like that. There needs something's got to give. I don't like it. I think it's bad for the gaming industry, and I do think the only way to solve it, unfortunately, is regulation, because we've tried the just don't play it, and it doesn't work because they just keep getting worse.
Well,
It just keeps getting worse.
you know the solution. This is the solution. Seeing as it is gambling, classify it as gambling, as many, like
There
you
you go.
said, with Denmark and other places in Europe have done. Classify it as gambling, and then arrest the parents for letting their child gamble.
I agree. I love it. I love everything about it.
Yeah,
I love everything about it because I don't mind it existing.
Straighten up quick.
It's just like narcotics and things or pot. I don't mind that stuff being out there. I think that's fine. I think adults should be allowed to make those decisions. But certain things we can't say we're against, the sexualization of kids and putting sexual stuff in front of kids and then be like, but here's this really addictive gambling you can do. And that's fine, right? That's my point. We have to if we're going to have laws that are designed to protect the most vulnerable in society from predatory scumbags like apparently Blizzard has become,
sure,
then we have to have them, period.
Well,
and I think that anti-gambling laws, like you're saying, are perfectly reasonable. They're hard to enforce, but if you make a big enough push, I think you'll catch enough fish that people will be like, no, we're just not going to do that stuff.
Now, I wonder what Microsoft is going to do when they finally get ownership of Blizzard.
I don't know. Hopefully they come in and they're like, all right, that's enough of this.
Hopefully clean house.
Well, you would think so, because Microsoft doesn't do those things as much. Like EA does it a lot, right?
Yeah.
But Microsoft, I haven't seen them really pushing that as much.
Well, look at the Game Pass. I mean, the Game Pass, I don't have it, and I'm probably not going to get it, but it's a great deal.
It is a good deal.
That's a great deal.
Yeah.
And that's Microsoft. Like, point blank period, that's Microsoft. I'm not saying they're, completely innocent in these things, but when it comes to their direct interaction with the customers, they are probably the best, besides Nintendo, but Nintendo has problems too. They're probably the best of these companies because they do seem, anyway, to try and think of what the customer wants. At least in the last few years, they have been.
Well, Microsoft has always been a gaming company second, anyway.
Right.
So they make their money on other stuff. So it's not their bread and butter. But anyway, this is a problem, and it continues. Here's another problem that continues.
Street Fighter fans divided over whether Chun-Li's new design is a politically correct regression or a beautiful upgrade.
Okay.
I think it's hideous, actually. I hate her new design.
Her face is horrible.
She looks ugly. Her thighs look grotesque. Like, she's always had these big, thick thighs, right? But these things don't... They look like some kind of animal. Like a giant turkey leg or something. They just look grotesque.
Because they put pants on her. If they
it just doesn't look good.
It doesn't look as bad. But that's really what comes to her. Her face is ugly, and they put pants on her. And they haven't done that with other characters. I mean, just look at it. It's not a great looking Chun-Li.
No.
But this Street Fighter 6, man, I don't know. I don't really care for the art design at all. But to be fair, I'm not, nor ever have I been, a Street Fighter dude. So
yeah, I'm not a big Street Fighter guy either. But yeah, look at that, man. I mean, that looks grotesque. It's not attractive to the eye to look at. It's just not.
It's this watercolor cell shading thing they're going with, yeah.
Yeah, that looks like bad art. Is what that looks like. It looks like DeviantArt art. That's what it looks like. I'm looking at, and it's coming from a AAA game. That's not good.
And the problem is she doesn't look Chinese. There's been some Asians who have made that comment. I don't know if they have them here, but I've seen the actual Asian comments in their language, right? Yeah, I don't know, but of course they gotta put pants on her here. Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
But okay, all right. Let me see here. Dude, the Japanese are not pleased. They are not
Good.
pleased. But
They shouldn't be.
it is their thing, dude. And I've seen stuff aside from this as well.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
don't
let me
like the
make sure.
design.
Oh,
It's
they
not
have
even
English
like
underneath it. Okay, let me make sure you guys can see the English. I'm sorry.
I don't even think it's a politically correct thing. It might be, but I just don't like it. Period. Like I don't care why they did it. I don't like it. Fix it. Make her prettier. Make her legs and shit not look so like grotesque. Like it's just not it's not attractive. And Chun Li one is supposed to be at least attractive, and two, it's a video game. It's a visual medium. If I don't like the look at it, I'm not gonna play it. Just that simple. It's
Most
just not gonna play it if I don't
most
like the look at it.
The interesting thing,
Um,
most of those responses were actually talk about her face, not her pants. But
yeah,
anyway, go ahead.
because her well, for one, her wearing pants isn't nothing new. When Street Fighter Alpha came out, she had like, I guess you could say, kind of a bodysuit,
Yeah,
but it was in her colors, so it kind of looked like almost you could say like an evolution of her costume, and it was widely positively regarded.
mm,
I don't know why I had such a hard time getting that out. It's not nothing new, but considering that this had just came, like they literally just dropped all this stuff last week, and because there were so many leaks after the first official trailer, there was literally like just leak after leak after leak to the point where Capcom is like, well, okay, we're just gonna talk about it rather than pretend like we don't know that this has happened. We'll just talk about it. So I don't know how far in that they are to this because they just dropped the last DLC for Street Fighter V not that long ago. So the fact
right.
that they even have this much of six out is pretty surprising as it was because I didn't think it was gonna come this fast.
Yeah, we're probably a
Um,
year or so out. Yeah,
it should be
yeah.
to get that fixed, and
But
Street Fighter V had similar issues with well, actually going back to Street Fighter 4, they have had some character model issues with characters, in particular Chun Li, going back to 4, like in the early parts of the game. So I'm kind of not surprised that they're having issues with her again.
yeah, no, I get it. And I'm looking at it here. I think the issue is the heads are too small on the models. Because if you look at Ryu down below,
Yeah,
his head is too small too. The heads are
Well,
yeah.
too
it's
small.
So
that, and her thighs are retarded. Look at that, dude. She looks like a 300-pound black woman. What
Uh,
the fuck's going on with those thighs?
if
Fair, but
Look at
if
I've
the
if
one
seen some
next to it.
pretty ridiculous.
if
Street Fighter
if
Five,
three
trust me,
hundred
legs
pound
are
black women
ridiculous.
had thighs like that, they wouldn't be single.
Look at the one to the left there, Street Fighter 2. That is a muscular female's legs look like, right? She's thick, but she's not ridiculous. I understand they're going for a little bit more ridiculous art style lately. I don't like it. It's ugly.
Yeah,
It
the heads
looks
are too
ugly.
small.
It's not appealing.
Yeah.
The heads are too small. The faces are ugly. Like, no, stop.
Well,
Make the damn game pretty, sons of bitches.
Brandon likes it. Danny likes it. Devil May Cry, Crayler Swift likes it. That's creep. That's cringy. Did you likes it. So there are people who like it.
Yeah, I don't. I don't like it one bit.
Yeah, the heads are
Not
too little.
one bit.
That's my issue. I don't care
Um,
about her pants.
I think it needs to get cleaned up and properly scaled a little bit.
They have time. They have time.
Yeah, exactly, Josh. Like they have, like the early models of Chun Li have been bad for like the last 3 or 4 games going. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it's not as bad as Wonder Woman was in Injustice 2 bad, but it's
Well,
still pretty
there's a
bad.
new Wonder Woman game
It's
coming out, by the way.
Heard nothing of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I would say it's just early development stage. I would take a lot of how this looks with a grain of salt,
Yeah, no,
just because it's so early.
they need to size the heads up a little bit, and I think it'll
Yeah,
solve a lot of the problems. Although her face is not Chinese though, and that's a problem because she doesn't look Chinese, and she is
I
Chinese.
wonder if that's the character model, like whoever they had model for it.
Well, something I've noticed about Japanese anime and manga, for instance, they really can't draw Western people. They can't. They can't get the face and the eyes right. They can't because they're Asian and they draw what they know and they can make Asians look good. They everything looks like an Asian. But when they try to do a foreign character, it never look. It always looks Asianified, right? They just can't do it. And maybe you have someone here. It's the opposite of that. They can't do the Asian. Maybe could be that simple. Whoever was put in charge of this model, because I have a feeling each character had a person put in charge of it, maybe even a little team. But at least a person was put in charge of each character, I'm sure, for building the a wireframe and skinning it and stuff. Because that is a problem. She the head's too small, and or she doesn't look Asian. I understand you got the eyes, but you missed it on the face. Because the thing with Asians, their faces are broad. They have wide faces and wide jaws. That is an Asian trait. This looks like a Scandinavian woman who you threw almond eyes on.
Yeah,
Is what it looks like. So
with big 300-pound black lady hips. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, trust
I
me,
never cared for her legs, to be honest with you. I never.
300-pound black lady legs aren't nowhere near as defined as that.
Well, whatever. They still look gross.
They
They're not
they mean they would
attractive.
have to actually walk.
Yeah. Well, Adrian says that Chester, you need to do a top 10 hottest fighting game characters. Sure. Sure. Just give me a minute because I'll have to go find the sexiest transgender, seeing as you guys have
Oh, fuck
labored
off.
me the transgender hero now. So I'll work on it. But maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Anyway, let's move on here. Oh my.
New trailer for Predator sequel Prey fails to make premise any less nonsensical. Correct.
Um,
Correct.
I got on this for a dumb reason because of it's historically incorrect, and I know you guys are like, "Shut up, sister." Okay, Cammy is better. You're right, Adrian. But it is a weird premise, and I think the best thing we can do here is just simply just watch it. Let's just watch it. Here we go. I'm not going to turn the sound on, but you guys can watch it on your own. But here you go. Okay, she's practicing with the axe, and she wants to go hunting, and they're like, "Why do you want to go hunting?" Because you guys said I can't. Okay, I'm sure that would have went over really well.
With the Comanche, she wouldn't have been a part of. Yes.
Yeah, right. That's right. Okay, she can communicate with the animals. That's useful. That is useful. She's holding the bow completely incorrectly. I did take archery in the Boy Scouts. I had a badge.
She outran a bear by jumping into water because that's how bears work.
Well, she went into went into a beaver thing, which the bear would go right through. But all right, that's fair enough. Survival. Okay. And of course the old bear here. He's got done. Oh no. Okay. All right. Predator got him a bear for some reason. I don't know why he would have saved her life, but whatever. She said, "I'm trying to protect you." I think he could protect himself, but she's trying. They hunt to live. The predators hunt for sport.
Yeah, the predators live to hunt. Is that the tagline we're going with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lives to hunt. Yeah.
Oh, that's not predictable or anything. They're gonna hide in tall grass from a predator. Okay.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't actually mind the whole Native American thing. It's not a bad idea. Um, and having the girl just survive the situation and kind of observe what's happening would have not necessarily been a bad idea. But you know that she's going to beat it somehow.
Of course. Of course.
Because the way she talks until the end here is that she's a survivor. There, of course, a little homage to Dutch. All right. So I don't know. Uh, it's
See, here's
certainly
how I know that's going to be dog shit. In that trailer, we should have never seen a predator. Never. Never. Should not have seen the predator at all in that trailer. You should have seen the effects of the predator. You should have seen her running from the predator. You should have seen the predator killing people or the bodies of the predator. With the bear thing, him pulling the bear out and lifting it above his head and still invisible, you shouldn't even have seen his silhouette. Right? Just he's got a bear. You should have never seen the predator at all. This is what I was talking about. A lot of these movies, and the ones I've seen, they're starting to learn this lesson. They don't have any subtlety. They don't have any nuance. They don't have any. They don't just let stuff breathe, right? Like so, the original Jaws is the best example of this. You don't see the shark. You don't see the shark for a very long time in that movie.
sure.
You don't need to see the shark,
No.
and the fact that you don't see the shark is far more terrifying than the shark because it's just a shark. We've all seen sharks. They're not that scary actually. They are scary if you're in the ocean though. Then they're fucking terrifying.
Well,
But if you're just watching one, it's not a big deal. Whereas the predator, he's not really terrifying either in his demeanor. He's just an alien looking creature, but I wouldn't say he's super terrifying. But what is terrifying about him is he's invisible. He's a fantastic hunter. You can't hide from him because he has thermal vision. All these things. He's faster than you, stronger than you, and he does live to hunt. These are the things that are terrifying, the psychological aspects. And they take all of that away by just showing you, hey, it's a Predator movie. Hey, she can outrun it. Hey, they somehow hid in the grass from it, which doesn't make any damn sense. For some reason, it randomly saved her from a bear. Again, why would it care?
yeah.
Why would it kill a bear, and why would it care at all?
Yeah. It
Like, if they took away all the tension. There's no tension now. We know what's going to happen.
Well,
We know exactly what's going to happen in there.
there's more here though than just that. I get your point, and who knows? But I don't. It's not something that interests me. However, the problem they have here with this girl, you see, let me preface this a little bit. When I was younger, man, late teenager and stuff like that, I used to hunt a lot. I was into hunting back in those days. I haven't done it in a long time. But how well, I've done a little, but anyway, and I used to go down Pennsylvania and go hunting down there, right? And it's good hunting in them there hills. But because of that, I'd often it was in an area that had a lot of Amish, right? And we'd stop by the little Amish. I don't know if you guys ever been to those little Amish way stations. I don't know what you call them. It's like a little mini market,
Markets.
convenience
Yeah,
store,
Amish markets.
whatever they are. It's like a little building and has stuff you can buy. And because I'm around, I've seen a lot of the Amish and stuff in that experience. And here's the thing. I've seen the Amish men, and pretty much everyone probably knows what an Amish man looks like, but I've seen the women too. And those women work for a living. Yep. They're hard
Oh yeah.
workers. And they don't have these little flimsy arms that this girl has. And they certainly,
Right.
and seeing as she's an Indian and she's wearing this outfit, she wouldn't have tan line. So maybe it would
Right.
have been a good idea to let her stay out in the sun for a couple weeks in this outfit. Just maybe. And maybe it would have been good to tell, hey, we're going to take 6 months, and you're going to get into, not big muscles, but just you're going to get into a athletic
Toned.
living in the tone wild type of look, because this looks like a girl who
Yeah.
sits on a couch all day.
Right.
Right? This is not a Native American person who is going to be working every day just to survive. And this is a problem we've been having of late. Now, I know some of you are going to make the reference back to John Wayne movies and stuff like that. But in those John Wayne movies, they were literally damsels in distress. And they were just there to be the thing to be saved and cute and pretty. Now, you might say that's a bad thing. Okay, fine. But this is not what it is. This is supposed to be these badass survivor girls go to kick ass. Well, shouldn't she look the part? Because she looks like a little girl who sits on the couch all day. I mean, she's cute enough. I mean, I don't think she's unattractive, but she's not what I would, what I would consider to be something that would be able to defeat a predator. The dudes look good.
No, no,
Look at the
none of these
dudes. The
people
dudes
should
look
be
good.
able to beat a predator. Let's
No, of
be
course not.
honest.
I
It
mean,
took
even
a modern,
Arnold couldn't.
yeah, he didn't even beat him. The guy gave up because he couldn't kill Arnold. It took a modern commando, everything he had with all of his knowledge, which would be far greater than theirs, and he still couldn't really get the job done.
Yeah.
He lost his whole elite squad. Now, granted, yeah, these people would have lived a very hard life.
Sure.
They'd be fantastic hunters, most likely, and they'd be able to take care of themselves. But against a frickin' predator, no,
But I mean, I'm
they'd
just
get
saying,
slaughtered.
look at the dudes. They look good. They have an even skin tone. They have they're as they would be. They're not going to be these big buff, buck type of image you have. They're going to be skinny,
Right.
malnutrition, malnourished. Of course, they're not getting all the food they need all the time. These guys, I think, look pretty good. You look at this guy right here. I believe it, right? But then, boom, she literally has a tan line. Look at it.
She has no muscle at
She
all.
has no
None.
tone
Not even a
whatsoever.
bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
now
it's ridiculous.
I'm not the most fit person in the world, but at least I do get up every day and take a little run. I mean, this girl does
I
tremendous.
don't think she could draw a bow. Not a real one. Not back then.
Well, I'm
No,
sure it's a
there's no
10
way.
pounder they got her on, and she was holding it
Yeah.
backhanded, which is kind of like taking your guns akimbo and turning them on the side. Fuck right off, dude.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It just, I don't necessarily agree with all the angst that's going against it because we don't really know what's going on. It could just simply be her surviving and witnessing the predator taking out other people because that's what he's doing here. It could just be simply from her point of view, right? But we don't know. But
It doesn't
we do
seem
know.
that way though from that trailer because they show her doing a lot of training. So it seems like they're getting ready for her to try and fight the thing.
She has an actual paunch. Look, she has a paunch. I
Yeah.
don't think Indian girls would have paunches.
No. She's just it's just such a shame, man. It's Predator.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be hard, guys. It shouldn't be this hard.
I'm just gonna say it. Nothing about this trailer looks good or interesting.
No,
It's like,
I like the
for
premise,
one,
though.
okay, for one, the premise is all right. If the premise is this indigenous tribe or whatever, where in the timeline is this? Is this before the events of the first Predator? Where is that at? Because to do that kind of setting in a modern era is kind of stupid, in my opinion.
This is in the past, obviously. It's in the
I'm hoping so.
1600s.
I'm hoping so.
I would think 1700s.
But
how what I would like to
even-
see is them going back and showing us how that captain had got a hold of that musket.
Yeah. But even with that, I'm just looking at this and I'm going, where am I supposed to be interested with this? Like you said, you see the part she's running from the bear. Why would a predator save her from the bear? Like the predator sees everything as prey. Why would he care? Why would a predator care in this instance at all? So you just look at that and it's like, well, what's the hook supposed to be of this? I don't see.
You know what would be cool though, as far as historical predator versus the 300 Spartans, baby.
That would be cool. You could have done something really cool with the Predator versus a whole tribe, which is kind of what's going to happen here, clearly.
Hopefully.
But I mean a whole tribe, right? For some reason, especially in modern times, Hollywood has decided that tribes were small. No, tribes were not small. Some of those tribes were freaking massive in the amount of people that were in them. That would be sweet. Like, you have him against like 1,000 freaking natives. Right? He's stuck or whatever. He's stranded, and he gets, the Predator gets himself in basically a war with a bunch of braves, 1,000 strong, and it's him versus all of them. That could be cool. That I could believe. I could believe they have a chance then. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be more interesting. I have to say though, she is cute.
she's all right.
I mean,
I want to kick her out of bed for
that's
eating crackers.
that's fine, but I mean, considering the kind of movie this is, that I really don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. This isn't the
I
kind
mean,
of movie where that matters very much, to be honest.
yeah,
Like, except for the ladies who like big muscle men, the first movie wasn't about sexiness. It was about, well, predators. That's what it was about. The name was quite literally apt.
True. But
I just wish we could get back to what Predator was supposed to be.
it
was supposed to be a psychological action thriller.
Or that.
It's not anymore.
You have this.
No, oh God.
Or,
now
or
it's
that.
now it's just either generic action or stupid action that doesn't make any sense. Like the last one where they made autism into a superpower, and that's why the Predators were here. They wanted to get autism. What? That's dumb. That's just dumb on its face. I don't think I even need to explain why that's dumb. That's just dumb. If you're going to make Predator movies, these should be fairly simple, and they would be one you could do in different settings, and it would still work because the basic premise is solid. It's strong as shit. A guy who can't even frickin' act like Arnold Schwarzenegger pulled it off. So you could do this with any warrior class all over the world, and it would still work at any time. You could go back to ancient Egypt; it would still work.
The problem is that there are cultures who do have warrior women traditions. Yep. The Native Americans do not have that at all. At all.
That's right.
So it's not even that the woman wouldn't even be trained in such things.
Correct.
So it is a bit odd-taking, but I just say once again this or that. Okay. Last.
Lenny Henry says Amazon's The Lord of the Rings of Power sees. Oh boy. People of color taking up space in the center of a fantasy series.
Okay. Now, I need help because this is actually a quote. And this seems to be something Lenny is happy about. I don't understand why people of color taking up space is a positive, though.
Yeah, it sounds like a negative to me.
It does.
Sounds like a very negative way to phrase it. Which he's kind of telling on himself, right? Because that's really all it's about. It's about taking space.
Oh no,
it's not about all these pretty words where they're representation and we want to help black people feel included.
Well,
listen, people all over the world have read Tolkien, of all races, literally of every race on the planet has read Tolkien, and there's thousands, if not millions, of each race that like and in fact love Tolkien.
Yeah, sure.
You didn't need to black it up. You didn't need to shorten the hair of the elves. You didn't need to make an elven queen into a warrior woman in an era where she wasn't a warrior woman.
Well, we already know what she is. She's never been a warrior woman. It's not what she is. We know her character.
It's just nonsensical bullshit. It's a lie, and I'm sick of pretending like it's not. Yeah. They don't give a shit about representation. They give a shit about conquest. That's what it's about.
It is true. But here's my question, though. Finally sees people of color taking up space in the center of a fantasy series. Now, I'm a bit confused. Tolkien is already established, and it's basically kind of retelling the Anglo-Saxon lore is what he's doing, and that's a German thing. It doesn't involve other races. It's German, right? Yeah. And if you look at the elves are representing the Scandinavians. More than likely, you get the humans representing the Germans, and et cetera, et cetera. They're representing people in the world, as the old stories do. But if you want a fantasy series that has people of color taking up space, then why don't you make that? I mean,
Yeah, I literally am. Not because of their ridiculous political bullshit, just because I think it's a cool idea to mix it up, blend it up.
Why don't they give us some African stories?
Yeah, exactly. There's tons of cool African fantasy you could make based off of African myths with all the black people you could want, with full-on kings and queens and all the same intrigues, all of that stuff. We don't get that, though. No, instead, we take a long dead man, a great man, a genius man. We take his work and we bastardize it for modern sensibilities. And it's all bullshit. I'm so sick of validating it like it's an actual argument.
And
It's not about representation. It's not about inclusion. Those are bullshit made-up communist terms to get you to submit to their rule. It's about conquest, period.
right.
That's what
And
they see this as. That's how they behave. That's how they word everything. Everything is a conquest, domination fucking game to these people. And I'm
Occupy,
so tired of it. So tired of it. It'd be fine if they were just. I'd be okay with it. At least more okay with it. They were just fucking honest about it. What they're doing. Just be honest about it. When they talk about shit like we need more diversity. You don't care about diversity. You just don't want white people. Just say that. Just say it.
yeah,
Stop
no,
with your
if
bull.
they would be honest, it'd be better. No, you're right. But I mean, look at this right here. Henry details the tribe, and all you Tolkienites in here will catch this. We're a nomadic tribe, moving with the weather and fertility of the crops. That's not how nomads work. We have big caravans of wooden wheels, and we're very good at hiding things because humans are much bigger than us and bring trouble. Now, just the nomadic aspect, they don't follow crops, they follow migrating herds. All right,
That's right.
so okay, that's stupid. You don't know shit. But more importantly, for the Tolkienites, uh, nomadic halflings,
Yeah, I don't
nomadic
think so.
hobbits.
I'm trying to remember. I could be misremembering, but I don't believe the Harfoots were nomadic.
Well, no, because they sit themselves in little hobbit holes and they like their cozy little warm houses, and one doesn't go outside of the house into adventure. You don't do that. They let
Yeah.
it very clear that weirdo Bilbo Baggins and then his relative Frodo. These people are weird. You stay home, you enjoy the nice hole in the ground, you enjoy some nice drink and libation, and you have yourself a nice bit of roasted something or another. You don't walk around the wilds filing the fertility of you dumbasses. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I don't like these people. I don't like them one bit.
but look,
They're
they're
scumbags.
they're moving
Can't
with
stand
the
life.
weather and fertility of crops. Dude, they don't even understand how weather works.
Or crops, apparently. Like, that's not how that works at all.
No.
Nomadic peoples are very rarely in agrarian. They're hunter-gatherers. You can't. It's hard to be nomadic and agrarian at the same time.
No,
That doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense
How you
at all.
moving around
And
and
besides,
planting crops that take 6 months to grow? That don't make no damn sense.
if your crops are fertile in an area, then they shall be fertile because that area is fertile.
That's right. And usually nomadic peoples, when they find something like that and they become agrarian, they stay. That's just where they live now. They stop being nomadic. That happens. That's happened many times throughout history. It's pretty much human history. That's pretty much what we did. Um, it's such bullshit. It's all nonsense because they have an agenda. That agenda is evidently fuck white people, and that's it. That's all they care about. All this other stuff is fluff to their bullshit agenda, and I am sick of pretending it's not. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it being anything other than people not being honest about it. Like even the term "people of color," just say non-white. That's what you mean. Stop it.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, you weren't allowed to say colored person. That was offensive. I thought. And then all of a sudden now that's back. That's the term. It's just they switched it. They flipped it around, you see. So now it's different. Oh, well that's not how the English language works at all. I just can't. I'm so sick of these people, man. They frustrate me to no end. It's the dishonesty that pisses me off. That's what really pisses me off. If you want to make a cool, fantasy series with a bunch of black hobbits, cool. Let's do that. Let's check that out. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
If you want to make, even if you want to do it with the Lord of the Rings, especially with the Harfoots, because they're supposed to be brownish or swarthy,
Sure.
okay, there's at least some leg to stand on in the lore. I think it's weak, but there's some leg to stand on in the lore that they could be dark-skinned.
Yeah, but I
But
don't care
don't
about that. I didn't
pretend.
give a shit what color they are. I'm talking about the nomadic lifestyle and taking up
Yeah, but
space.
I am though. I do give a shit because they're lying.
Yeah.
Don't pretend you're doing this for anything else than to fuck white people. You think you're showing the evil racists or something that they've been whatever displaced. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck their plan is. But that's what they're doing it for, and it's transparent. And I'm just over it. I'm over
Yeah.
the lying about it.
When I was young, when it came to people of different colors, we called them Americans. Mm. Although my
Yeah,
grandpa said that they are the Negroes. That's the word
the
he
Negroes.
used. That was his generation. But I do believe when he was young, that was not a slur, though.
No, I mean
I
it
think,
shouldn't be.
I
It
think,
just
well,
means
no,
black.
I think it just is the term they used to use because he didn't use,
Yeah.
he was quite friendly with black people, but that's the term he used. So in my lifetime, the only words I've ever heard was my grandpa and his generation saying that. And the other black people using of his age using the same word. And then me hardly ever referred to color, but
Say
I
you
guess it
down
would
the
be,
street playing with them niggers.
yeah, that's the way he said it. That's right. That is the way he said it. But black, I guess. I think the African American was way past my time, and it's kind of dumb because there are hardly any African in them anymore. Um, yeah, yeah, no, I guess black is the only one I've known in my life. Hmm, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just really frustrating. Tolkien's the one thing that they've wanted for a very long time. They've got it now. They're gonna do what they
Well,
do.
I don't think they're going to be
And
successful with it. To be honest with you.
no, it's gonna be a massive failure. And it's just repugnant to me. Just be honest with it. If you don't want to do stuff with white people in it, fine. Just say that.
Hmm.
Stop with this bullshit like you're on some grand moral crusade. You're making this grand. It's all about this cause. Shut the fuck up. It ain't about a
Chester,
cause.
Chester, it's not about being successful. It's about cleaning the scalp. That's what they're after.
I know, I
Yeah.
understand, and that's why I made that comment about video games earlier, because you had mentioned that when we were younger, like that game, that one game, that cute little game you mentioned, we didn't care what the
Yeah.
character's
Yeah.
skin color was or gender, that didn't matter. But these days, because it's an agenda, you know,
Yes.
like that
Yep.
Flintlock game, it's clearly that's intentional, right?
And
Uh,
and the stupid thing is, they think that it's an own, but it's like, dude, you're hurting yourself. That game, if that game turns out to be cool, you could have sold 5 million. You could sell 5 million copies of that game, but you're not. You're probably only going to sell two or three because you done pissed off 2 million people to the point where they're going to see that character and go, "Oh, I bet I know what this is about."
right, and that's me. That's me. Right?
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
I normally wouldn't
Yeah.
care, but now every time I see it, I know there's agenda behind it, and I just know there is. And it's unfortunate. Adrian says
yeah.
there is fantasy already out there where black characters are thematic characters. Yeah, what's Earthsea? The main
Let's
character's
see.
black, right?
Yep.
Although the live action TV, really bad TV show, the miniseries they made, that they race swapped him to white, though. I thought that was funny because he's a black
Yeah.
character. So I don't know why they did that. But no,
I
there
didn't even know
is.
about that.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I don't know why they did that.
That's
But
stupid.
it is stupid. Yeah, it's to keep the character what it is. Quit messing with people's stuff.
Well,
Uh,
because that's the problem, right? They talk out of both sides of their fucking mouth, and it pisses me off. So half the time they say that matters. Race and ethnicity really matters. It matters so much we have to inject it into other places. But then they say out of the other side of their mouth, well, it doesn't really matter. Why are you getting upset, motherfucker? You can't have both. You don't get to say it matters, and then when I'm like, I don't like that, be like, oh, what doesn't matter? No,
well,
no, 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 no,
that's
no, no,
the
no, no, no,
same
no.
thing
We don't
with.
play that game.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing with the thing we were talking about earlier. Whereas, yeah, I'm told that you have to be able to see your own representation in a thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then when you say, okay, well, it's not for me, then, well, all of a sudden, why aren't you doing it, bigot? Why aren't you buying the game, bigot? It's like those
right.
transgenders who literally get up and say that if you don't want to have sex with a transgender, you are transphobic. And I'm like, yeah,
I'll
okay,
read it.
all right then, fair enough.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
If that's your
Because,
definition,
well,
cool.
And
Because I'm
if
not
you,
having sex with you.
well, people have asked them, and they're like, because I'm a woman, but you have a dick.
Yeah, I don't like dick.
Yeah, I don't want the dick. That's a problem.
I don't. Dicks are kind of ugly. Not a fan.
Yeah,
They don't
not
do
a
nothing
fan.
for me.
Not a fan. And I
I,
don't want to have to stick it in your butt because that's icky.
Yeah.
I will keep reminding these people that if you need to see yourself in every shape and aspect of what you watch, especially fiction, you are a loser. You
Yeah.
do not need to be able, you do not have to see yourself in something to be able to relate to it. And I will remind people yet again, millions of kids across this country cried when a robotic truck died.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yep.
yeah. And when I
Okay?
was a
Yep.
kid, I loved Black
How many
Panther, dude.
how many robotic trucks did you hang out with in high school?
Hmm.
I ain't met one yet.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well,
Well,
the best example you got of this though is Superman. Besides his skin color, and I guess his hair color and stuff, he's not like anybody. He's
he's
fucking Superman.
alien.
He doesn't represent anybody. I mean, I guess people from Kansas, maybe. If you happen to be also 6'4" and like the perfect body of all time, you get that's you. You get to be represented by him if you're Super Chad from Kansas.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't look like
Yeah.
anybody else otherwise, and he doesn't act like anybody else because he's fucking Superman. That's the point. But yet, everybody or most people, especially nerds, at least respect Superman. If they don't love him, they at least respect the character.
Nah,
So it's
it's
bullshit. It's
nonsense. It
bullshit
is
on its
bullshit.
face. It's just a lie, and I'm sick of pretending it's not a lie. That's what pisses me off because it's not true. They don't give a shit about representation.
Yeah,
That's just a
no,
made up fucking buzzword they made up so people wouldn't push back. That's
I
all it
understand,
is.
and I agree with you. You know I do. I'm just
I,
still stuck on the idea of nomadic hobbits and migrating with the weather and fertility of the ground. I'm confused because that's not
yes.
what nomads do. That's not
No.
how fertility works either.
No.
And hobbits are not nomadic. They are not nomadic. They are
Yeah, I
so
don't remember that ever.
well, no,
Yeah.
because they're so much the opposite of that. They are literally
Right.
the homebody. That is the whole
Right.
point. That's why what Bilbo did initially was so shocking to them because he
And why he
literally
became
went,
famous.
yeah, right, and he went on an
Yeah.
adventure, which is things that hobbits do not do. They are homebodies.
Right.
They do not leave the safety. A nomadic hobbit is literally antithetical to a hobbit.
Yes. Yeah.
But once again,
It's
The
they
fu-
don't know what they're
the
talking
funny
about. They
shit
don't
is
do the research.
right.
somebody wrote that shit in the writers' room, and they read that shit out loud, and everybody was like, "Man, that's fucking great."
Because they've never read it, they don't know what a hobbit is. That's why they didn't do the
Right.
research. Because if you were sitting and talk about a fantasy and like, hey, we're going to have these little people and they're nomadics that live in these giant wagons, because D&D did something like that with halflings. But if I was creating a fantasy thing and I had little people and they have trouble with the big peoples, okay, like the Dakini in the Willows type of thing. All right, cool. I could see that as being interesting. But if you've ever read Tolkien, then you would know, no, we can't do that. That's the problem. They don't know the core material, right? That's the problem.
And they don't want to because they want a scalp. They want it. They want the
Yeah,
name. They know people. Most people only care about the name recognition, right? Just like they did with Star Wars. When that dumb bitch sat up there and said that's not like we have literally books of material we can draw from. If I'd have been in
That
that
was
room, I'd have threw something
stupid.
at her.
That was
That's the
stupid.
dumbest. You don't even. How do you? What do you even do with that level of stupidity and ignorance?
Yes,
And yet
absolutely.
they're in charge of the property. It's the
Yep.
same people here. And they actually had the guy who is literally the foremost scholar on Tolkien in the world working for them, and he resigned, quote unquote, probably because they wanted to do some really stupid shit like nomadic hobbits. And he was like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because it's
That's not
illogical
how
to what a
hobbits work.
hobbit is. It's the opposite of what
Yeah.
they would do. If they were, forced out of their town was destroyed, their village, and they were forced to move overland to find a new home, okay, fine. There's a story. Maybe you have that, but that's not what these guys are. They're nomadic hobbits that follow the weather and fertile ground on
Yeah.
so many levels. That is stupid.
Yes. Yes. Apparently the ground in Middle Earth the fertility is flowing like some sort of stream,
It moves.
and it's just vacillating from one side to the next. It's ridiculous.
Yes,
It's
and especially if you understand the hobbits and the way Tolkien described them and stuff, they're really good at managing the land and keeping it
yes,
fertile. This is something
yes,
mentioned in the books, by the way. Halflings are because the halflings represent the hobbits represent the English. That's who they are.
right,
They're the English people, right? And one thing it is true, some of the best farmers on the planet are English. And the reason is because the ground in Britain is highly acidic and not very fertile. They
right,
literally have to create lime from limestone, baking it, which is a process, right? And they take the lime and they spread it on the fields before they do their planting because otherwise it won't grow. You see, so the
yes.
English have over time have become incredible farmers because they're really had to be good at it. And if you look in the
Well,
world today, the ones that go around giving advice, helping people, tend to be the English because they are the best at it, right?
it's funny because there's a guy who he's an older guy, much older guy. He's probably in his 80s now, but he's a farmer. He has a YouTube channel. It's an ASMR channel, but he also has like his own philosophy and stuff that he talks about.
Sure.
And he has been a farmer pretty much his whole life. And he went. There was a time in his life where he says he was going to go save the world. So he decided to go to South America and teach them how to farm. And he's going to open a farms down there and try and help these people as much as
Sure.
he could. Well, it didn't work out, but the reason he was able to do that is what you're talking about, because British farmers are really competent. They know what they're
Highly
doing,
competent. Yeah, they're highly competent.
and the whole thing with the one of the things that Tolkien represents it, he does it subtly. I don't think he does it outright. He might, maybe in the Silmarillion, but one of the things that he mentions in the books is that the hobbits have a special kind of magic about them. That the Shire is a magical place. It has a special kind of magic about it. And it's one of the reasons why evil just doesn't flourish there. Is because they have this whole, I can't remember what he calls it, but it's something like homey magic. Like it's like because it's their home and because they're like so pure of heart and connected and so like societally rooted, they have this deep connection to that land, and it makes it hard for evil to take root there. It even weakens evil to the point where
Yeah.
if evil beings come there, they get weakened because of it.
Yeah, but in that
Um,
same quote, doesn't he say because they till the land with honey and mead?
I believe so. Yeah, he says something like that.
Right.
And but that's my point, though. Like them being nomadic doesn't make any fucking sense. That's not what they are. It'd be like saying, yeah, we got these dwarves that live in the trees. What? Yeah, they live in the trees.
They're
They like
tree
trees.
dwellers. Yes.
Tree dwarves. That's what we
Because
got.
they love the
Yeah.
elven lifestyle so much.
Yeah, they just love
I
elves.
love it.
Big fan of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. But no, it is really bothersome to me that I know what's bugging you and you're not wrong. But I just can't. The nomadic thing is specifically Tolkien, but the
Yeah,
weather, moving with the weather and fertility, it's just. Did you not go to junior high school?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
isn't this like
Exactly.
basic school training that how weather works? Don't we? Don't I know the kids here study in like junior high school. They study weather, how weather works. Do they not
Yeah.
teach this to the children anymore?
I don't know. Probably not, because instead we have to teach them about anal sex and how many genders there are.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
very
icky.
important. It's very important stuff, Chester. You need to know about sticking penises and butts. You
That's
can't
icky.
know about
That's
clouds.
icky.
You need to know about butt sex. All
That is
right?
icky. I don't like it. I don't like it. Anyway, we do need to end because I need to get to work. But
I need to
interesting.
tell Adrian something. Adrian, the name of the channel is Spiritual Unfoldment with John Butler. That's his name, John
That's a good
Butler.
name.
He's an old, very old British man. He has a very nice, soothing, deep British voice, but he goes into some very deep philosophical stuff. He's actually a pretty interesting guy.
Yeah, I like those shows with the old dudes who are really really good at something, or ladies.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they're kind of sharing their craft. I love that kind of stuff. And I guarantee you, he is not migrating with the weather and fertility.
No, no, no. so dumb.
It's so dumb.
The dumbness.
If you just understanding how much it takes to even set up a farm before you even put anything in the ground, right? It's literally years to establish something like that. It's not a quick process, and it's certainly once again antithetical to the nomadic lifestyle. Right?
Yeah, it's preposterous.
Well,
It's utterly preposterous.
in one of the D&D worlds, I forget which one it was. Is it Mystara or I can't remember. One of the D&D worlds, they did have this kind of halflings, but these halflings basically were replacing gypsies of old, and they were kind of like the gypsy halflings, and it worked in that story because well, that's what they were. They were traveling merchants and gypsies. The Tolkien thing puts a big kibosh on that. But anyway, I gotta stop it. I gotta get out of here. Grimlock, please say something nice to Adrian because he's gonna start yelling at me anytime, I'm sure.
It's coming.
Adrian, don't be mean to Chester today. Save it for tomorrow because it's Monday. Monday's always the best day to shit on somebody.
True. Okay.
But,
all right then. Thank you very much, Thundero. Take us out of here. And what the hell is it even that? Yeah, I know that was a great comment.
What the hell is even that? That is a great video. I have a real simple one. It's one I just recently came up with. I like it. I think it's good. The toll of wishful thinking. Sorry, let me try that again. The toll of wishful thinking always comes due unexpectedly and with a thunder.
Ooh, nice. Namaste. Later, guys.
What the hell is even that? That is a great video. I have a real simple one. It's one I just recently came up with. I like it. I think it's good. The toll of wishful thinking. Sorry, let me try that again. The toll of wishful thinking always comes due unexpectedly and with a thunder.